counting down, I'm sorry. Let me say go. Would it be after 7 o'clock? I'll call the July 13th meeting to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Just give me a second. Ugh. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Thank you, Al. Well, we got a house full. My first thing on the agenda is minutes. We have only, there's two listed, but we only have one. The June 8th meeting, and Joe read them, so we'll make a motion to approve.
Yeah, I've read them, I made no changes, so I moved them as written.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Enforcement order violation, 121 Amberville Road.
All right, so the commission will recall setting a deadline for restoration activities to be completed by July 13th. They were indeed completed ahead of that schedule. Conservation staff visited the site on July 6th and found that all directives have been completed. Wooden steps and pea stone walkways, stepping stones, mulch, and non-native plants have all been removed from the 25. Native woody plantings are installed at locations as directed by our field inspector, properly seeded, and the seed is covered with a clean, weed-free straw. 2 additional wetland markers on posts have been installed along the edge of the 25. So we recommend allowing for 2 years of monitoring of the plantings. And we wanted the commission to consider or talk about rescinding the fines that are totaling $1,200.
Okay. Joe, any questions?
No questions on the point of the fine. I think the applicant certainly made a mistake. I think they realized that. I think the time delays were really almost attributed as much to the less than superior representation by their consultant. So I'd be, given the fact that we've got the outcome that we were looking for and everybody showed good faith getting that done, I would entertain relaxing the fines.
Agreed.
Okay. I agree with the fines being rescinded. However, we have a planting plan that we have to allow for growing seasons.
Right.
So
2 growing seasons.
I would be in favor of maybe just retaining some of that money so that the plants do prosper, and in case they have to be replaced. But if the commission wants to rescind the total, I agree. I feel bad for the applicant because she kind of got misrepresented, and we'll go from there. Jack?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I'm not sure we have a mechanism to withhold money or have temporary fines, so I'm not sure how we'd do that. But I think in terms of the 2-year monitoring period, I think that's definitely a good idea and worth it. I would also suggest that I know part of this was removable of non-native species, so we should monitor any invasives and non-native species that may return, and eradicate those as part of the 2-year process.
Okay.
But I'm good.
Okay.
Ryan?
Yeah, I'm in favor of rescinding the fines, and I don't have anything else to add beyond that, than what you said.
Okay.
We don't have, I'm quite confident, we don't have the authority to assess a fine and then withhold it.
Okay.
As if it were bond money.
Okay.
If we had performance bond money, that would be fair game.
Okay.
But we don't.
No, that's fine. If it doesn't grow, we can always issue another enforcement order.
I don't think we're going to have any more problems here.
I don't think so either.
So
So I guess the commission could amend the enforcement order again just to allow for 2 years of monitoring. And Jack's suggestion of invasive monitoring and removal of non-natives and invasives.
And rescinding the fines, all in the same motion?
Yep, yes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, we'll be in touch.
Next one is 242-1819, 255 Stevens Street.
Alrighty. Commission will recall issuing an order in August of 2021, and it governed the construction of a 36 by 18 in-ground pool shed, and a surrounding patio. Work occurred with an existing lawn that slopes towards the house, and work was outside the 50-foot no-build zone. The order was modified a couple of times, most notably the pool was rotated 90 degrees, which brought it further away from the no-build zone. The other one was for a proposed retaining wall, but that was deemed unnecessary, so that was eliminated throughout the project. Site is stable. The 25-foot no disturb zone is marked. And there's no other outstanding issues, and I'd recommend issuing a full and complete certificate of compliance. The wetland scientist is here this evening if you have any questions for him.
Any questions, Joe?
No questions.
Al?
No questions.
Jack?
Not a one.
Ryan?
No questions.
Motion.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. You're all
Thanks for
set.
coming. Okay.
Good job.
Hey, you definitely turned the tables on us. All right, next one is 242-1535, 205 Salem Street.
Alrighty. I don't know if anyone's here this evening for this. The engineer wasn't able to attend, and I don't think the applicant was able to get out of work. So I'll give you a rundown, and if we need their presence,
Do you want us to table
we
it?
can do that.
If the
I don't think they'll make it at all. Like, I don't think they'll be able to come to the meeting at all tonight.
Okay,
So,
all right.
There's nothing controversial on this, it's just routine,
well, there's some outstanding things that, so the commission, let me just give a quick overview. So the commission recalled there was an existing single-family house at 2009 Salem with backland. They subdivided behind that house and did a common driveway. And the driveway, the first section of driveway was really all that was in our jurisdiction. It was in natural heritage. Natural heritage required a conservation easement, and you can see the bounds marked out there. That area had some vernal pools in it. The stormwater consisted of a 4-foot wide infiltration trench on the downhill side of the common driveway. So we have much of what was required in the special conditions. The only outstanding issues that I can see is O&M reporting by a professional engineer for maintenance of that trench, which we don't have any reporting. And then the as-built plan is not completely up to date, as 2001 Salem Street has a large shed and a play structure out in the backyard that's not shown on that plan. However, those structures are out of our wetland jurisdiction, so I don't know, I don't know how the commission feels about that. So those are the two main things that sort of missing links.
Joe?
This is the one that first came in as separate house lots, separate driveways, resource area was across the street,
Yes.
but by minimizing the number of cuts on that steep hill, we felt that was less intrusive, but it pushed them further back near the vernal pools. That's how this ended up in this
Okay.
format, correct?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that infiltrated trench, the success of this whole project was based on the ability to control the runoff from that driveway. And in total, it disturbed more than an acre. It was subject to the
Nifty SWIP.
permit anyway.
Yep.
The SWIP is in place. Maintenance of that ditch is perpetual.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we don't have reports now, it's
Right.
not in compliance. And I think it should be fair warning that it needs to be issued as a report summary back to EPA and to us annually.
Okay.
Not to us, but to the town.
Yes,
Whoever's
yeah.
overseeing the ongoing maintenance. So, yeah, they're not in compliance.
Okay. All right. All right. So do you want to continue and
Continue.
and I'll convey this to the applicants and if they can get some reporting to us?
Yeah, I mean, we can't issue a COC.
Yeah, I'm not asking to make up reports, but I think
No,
we need to
no,
at least
but-
have one report prior to the CO,
Yep.
at least saying it's this condition now, and then put on notice that whatever the town's
Right.
deadline is, whether they do it all the same time every year
Right.
for all permits, or whether they string them out, over the
Yep.
course of the year, I don't know, but,
Right.
typically where I work, we put out notices in December, and need them to be on file by the 30th of January. So they need to be put on notice that they have to be doing this
Okay.
annually.
Okay. I did speak to the owner of 2001, and he said that he and his neighbor do kind of clean out the leaves in the fall, and I said, that's great, I'm glad you do that, but the language is very specific in the order, and I have to present, what we do not have to the commission.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shared driveway, I'm sure there's some sort of more
The-
formal
There's,
homeowners
there's,
association.
there is, it's
Yeah, so
recorded.
They gotta just make sure that happens, and that
Yep.
they have a mechanism to report that formally,
Right.
not informally.
Yep, okay.
What about the pools?
Vernal pools, yes, that was the other issue, I'm sorry. So, Norse Environmental inspected those pools. So, one of the other conditions required that the pools be investigated and certified with the state. Norse inspected those over 2 seasons and did not find enough evidence to take to the state, but enough to protect it under our local bylaw. And so, since the pools are contained wholly within that conservation easement, and the buffer zone is inside the easement, the likelihood of their being impacted is very small.
And we always we never require anybody to certify them. We require them to go through the
Investigate.
effort in the attempt
Okay.
to certify them. So we can't make anything be certified that's not certifiable.
Right,
But I think they also, in designing this, made sure they made a presumption that they were vernal pools
Yes.
and provided the setbacks.
oh, I mean, they're out of the
Yeah.
buffer zones completely to those
That's not by
isolated
accident, that was-
wetlands. That was purposeful.
Yeah, by
right,
purpose.
They
Yeah,
agreed to it.
yeah. So, but I mean, there was enough to make them protectable under the bylaw, but just, not enough for the state criteria.
So you're satisfied going forward?
I am.
If more,
I mean-
if different homeowners, if these houses sold to someone else,
Mhm.
and the new homeowners came in requesting work, there's a mechanism in place to identify and protect the setbacks for those?
Absolutely.
I'm all set then.
The only question I have, it's on here about the shed, saying we're gonna make them come before us again. What the issue is with the shed? Are we
Shed
comfortable
and
with the shed?
play set.
Huh?
The shed and the play set that are not on the plan,
But it's out of jurisdiction.
but out of jurisdiction.
Oh, it's out of jurisdiction.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
okay.
Jack?
Yeah, I agree with Joe on, when we have a stormwater management structure, there's typically an operation and maintenance plan associated with that, and evidence that the operation and maintenance plan
Yep.
is being executed. So I think we withhold the COC until that happens formally, as you say,
Yep.
Amy. So other than that, I'm all set.
Right.
My only comment is, for the vernal pool surveys in the future, I'd like to see like actual data sheets, maybe a couple photos. Basically identifying the exact day it happened so we can see what rain events happened. It's sort of just like a little, somewhat subjective here, I heard a few calls, things like that. So that's just sort of a, I'm okay with this now, but just in the future, I think that would be good. But other than that, I agree with everything.
All right, so we need a motion to continue.
So moved.
To the 27th?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Small project, 296, Marble Ridge Road.
Alrighty. Okay. So the vast majority of this project is outside of the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. It involves a demo of an existing deck and construction of a covered porch, deck, and hot tub. The proposed hot tub will be supported on a new 50-foot square foot paver patio, and 28 square feet of the patio and hot tub on top of it will be inside the outer reaches of the riverfront area, and all work is entirely outside of the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetland. I reviewed the wetland line and found it to be accurate. The project has been reviewed by the planning board because it's in the watershed, and they received a waiver from formal permitting based on, but they did prescribe conditions on that waiver.
Okay,
So,
Joe?
that's it.
Sorry, I'm sorry,
No, that's it.
Joe.
The homeowner's
Yes.
here this evening.
I mean, though it is a small project, I don't see which issue with that, but taking what was an open deck and enclosing and putting a roof on it, that stone infiltrated trench along the drip edge, along the edge, is a critical element to minimizing those impacts in the future, so you can make sure it gets built correctly. But other than that, I have no issue.
All set.
Okay,
Very well documented, small project, I'm all set.
right,
No questions.
Overkill.
motion?
So, recommending that you find this as a category F, which is patios less than 300 square feet in jurisdiction, and L for hot tub. And then with conditions of pre-construction, erosion control, install, and review. All materials stored outside of the riverfront, and a post-construction inspection to verify compliance and removal of erosion controls.
So let me offer two motions. The first motion would be that I move that we consider this, we find and consider this to be a small project within the rules of the same.
Is it F and an L? An F and an L.
So, that, yes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
So accordingly, I move that we approve it with the conditions as stated by the administrator.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Well said, thank you.
Great. So I'll get that permit out to you, if not this week, early next. Okay, thank you.
All right, next one, NOIs, 242-1787, requested continue to 8/10/22 due to lack of a quorum.
So moved.
Let me just ask a question. There's no quorum. Do we move it, or is it automatically continued?
It's automatically continued.
I'm just thinking, if we don't have a quorum
Right,
to
an
vote on, we
an
don't have a
eligible
quorum to
form.
move it.
Right, right.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I withdraw my motion.
All right, so the next one is 242-1837, 1260 Salem Street, requested continue to July 27th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1845, 240 Abbott Street.
Alrighty, I don't understand why I can't click this, but anyway, Commission will recall, this is a sanitary sewer connection project, abandoning the existing septic system and running a force main to the existing lines that are in a shared driveway. Commission at the last meeting requested additional information on the plan. The commission wanted elevations to be noted, a plan for temporary sewage storage, tank dimensions, and a dewatering plan. The project engineer provided the plan with details on it that was meant for the DPW. May put a note on the plan about dewatering, although he still believes that it won't be necessary. Gave us a spec sheet for a dewatering bag and BMP's. Let's see. And that was basically.
Joe?
Where's the detail for the dewatering bag?
on the
So
right
we have a
side.
spec sheet, it's a separate spec sheet.
Separate sheet, got it,
Yes.
okay. I'm looking for it on the plan.
Yep.
Okay, and that's going to become part of the record?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set.
Al?
I have no questions right now.
Okay. My only question is, Amy, are they going to put the dewatering set up, or are they just going to leave it on the side of the site?
No, well, we can condition that it's set up and ready to go at the
Okay.
pre-construction meeting.
Okay, I mean, it's their opinion that they don't want it, it's our opinion that we do want it,
Well, yeah.
and usually we win.
No, we can definitely condition that.
All right, thank you. Jack?
Yeah, we should also condition that it be outside, that the dewatering be outside the, what's our typical,
Outside
100
of-
foot or
yeah.
50 foot? 100 foot, I guess. That's really my only
Okay.
comment.
I have no
Ryan?
questions.
I just have one other question. Amy, the first plan, what size is that? I mean, I know I'm getting old, but, man, if they make this stuff any smaller, I'm going to really need a
Well,
magnifying glass.
I'm giving you the 11 by 17 versions. I have full-size plans.
I don't want the big one, but I mean, like,
I do.
if we get something just a little larger, so we
Okay.
can, I can't even, I mean, I
Sure.
can see the numbers, but I gotta work at it.
No, I agree.
All right, thank you. All right, so we all set? Motion.
So motion to close
Move
the
to
hearing
close.
and issue. I have the decision ready for tonight.
Move that we close 242-1845 and issue a decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Zero, seven.
Next one is 242-1847, 161 Camp Road.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll get it right. Stop it. All right, let me just get the notations here. Okay. All right. Commission will recall that this is construction of an in-law addition at the west side of the house, paver patio and walkway. Plan revisions were submitted to include a dewatering area, construction access, a stockpile area, notations on vegetation management. Since the last meeting, the applicant is contemplating a second-story addition over the existing garage and an expansion of that footprint a bit.
Yeah, we added some erosion controls along the back, just in case that does happen. And
Okay.
one of the big changes too was the prior plan was on an assumed datum, and it's a zone A out here without an elevation attached. But the abutter on the other side of this wetland had a flood study done, and that flood study was based on NAVD 88 datum. So we set up our GPS unit, converted our datum to NAVD 88, and we confirmed that the proposed addition and all the activities are above the floodplain by almost 5 feet. We add that note to the bottom left of the plan.
Better than 2 inches.
We had to run a level loop all the way over to Webster Woods just because of all the tree cover. First time attempt came back, and we couldn't use it. The marsh barrel was almost 3 feet. So we went back and did it a second time.
Any questions, Joe?
So, from the first time we heard this, now they're contemplating a second-story addition over the existing garage. So the impact of the 50-foot no-build is a pre-existing, but they're looking to not disturb foundation, but only go up higher.
That's right.
So there's going to be construction activity within the 50, but not, that's only temporary impact, but not getting into the 25, except close in that, if this is oriented the way I think it is, in that northeast corner.
That's right. Any expansion will be outside of the no-build zone, and the expansion is just to fit more vehicles in the garage.
Right, but I'm saying during construction itself, the impact is going to be staging and work around the perimeter for that second story, but, you know, and I guess I'm okay with that within the 50-foot no build because it's already previously disturbed.
Yeah.
My concern is that there may be temporary activities within the 25 and there can't
Oh.
be.
So it's currently a maintained lawn. So if there was any rutting or any exposed soil, they just loam and seed it prior to the COC request.
Okay, so the erosion controls you're showing back there in the 25, you're not looking to give anything back. You're looking to maintain that as lawn in the future,
Right.
and you're putting erosion controls in there and keeping that disturbance confined by the erosion controls itself, but you're not giving back any lawn area. And
That's
you
right.
don't think so because you need to because this is only temporary impact and not a permanent impact. Is that your reasoning?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, from our standpoint, all of the activities proposed do comply with the setback requirements in the bylaw.
So if we, and we're probably going to issue no other conditions, but I don't think it'd be a surprise that we would say that in that no disturb area that, you know, restoration standards be pretty rigid. Because they're going to be,
Yeah.
when they stage it, they're going to be working back there. That's all there is to it.
No.
I'm all set.
Yeah,
No questions?
no questions. Chair,
I have no questions.
Ryan?
I'm just curious about the trees to be removed and pruned.
Yeah, it's a very gray note.
Yeah, and it's on
Uh,
both sides and,
Yeah, the idea is just to go in and then not take anything down, but just to prune and limb some of the trees. There's some dead wood. We did keep all the hatching outside the no disturb zone, so all the activities that are in the buffer would just be exactly what I described: removing dead wood, pruning some of the trees that are there. We are asking for permission to take down one tree, and that's shown on the plan, but it's just to clean the woods up a little bit.
so it's not like a hazard tree or anything?
The one that we're asking to remove, it's a multi-trunk tree, and Bill's gonna try to take down, well, the idea is just to take down maybe the closest trunk to the house, but we wanted to propose the whole tree in case the tree company comes out and finds out the inside of the tree is full of ants, or we didn't want to have to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, it's right on the very edge of the 100-foot buffer
Yeah.
as well.
Yep. But the stump would stay, they're not gonna pull the stump or anything.
Okay. So the remaining areas where the pruning's gonna happen, the dead wood removal, those hazard trees as well, or I'm just thinking like habitat wise, is there a reason to remove the dead wood?
Yeah, Bill will probably be better suited to answer that.
Bill McCarthy, 161 Campbell Road. I've never done any pruning, so everything's overgrown. A lot of it comes down daily into the driveway. And I'm just concerned about my grandchildren and stuff coming down, so I'm just trying to take and Amy had come over, and she saw what my plan was.
So it is a safety issue.
In my eyes, it is, yeah. And the big tree leans directly at my house, so if I wasn't doing this addition, I'd still be before you now. It concerns me, so.
Gotcha. Okay. I have nothing else.
I do have one follow-up question.
Go ahead, John.
Public utilities out in this area is kind of odd. No public water, but there is public sewer, correct?
There is.
So there's no impact to septic systems because of the addition?
That's right. It'll be, plumbing for the addition would be tied in the basement.
Okay, but yeah, so,
Yeah.
fine, I'm all set.
The one request we would have is, so we are showing a dewatering basin. We have a detail on the plan. The idea was to put a full foundation in. They did some exploratory testing out here, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. There's ledge, so I don't think we're going to be as deep as initially thought. So the likelihood of dewatering is very, very slim. And I heard from the prior application that you want the dewatering basin set up typically for the pre-construction meeting. We'd ask to hold off on that if at all possible until the need arises. Otherwise, I think we'll set it up and then just dismantle it. It won't ever get used.
So I currently have a sump pump. My basement is 4.5 feet, and the sump pump is probably two feet down, and it's dry. There's no water in it now, so we don't expect to hit any water.
Does it get activated at all during?
No,
high-
not this time of year, no. It's, the only time it usually goes is, when the snow melts and then the rain starts, and it's not consistent, so,
And you won't be that deep with the new.
no.
So you're definitely going to do a frost wall as opposed to a full foundation for a basement?
Right, the full foundation is just, it's gonna be too difficult.
Joe, most men want extra cellar space.
I want it, I
You
want
did
it.
want it.
I want it,
There's
this was,
stuff we need
this
to-
was difficult, but there's a reason why the house is 4.5 feet. The previous owner was the builder.
Just didn't want to get into it.
And I think between ledge and, probably the water table, so we just decided it's just really not worth it. I looked at different plans, and it's just, the cost would be, and again, I don't want to run into trouble with a lot of ledge and then if I hit water, so.
I understand the logic. I mean, the other one, there was a very real potential that it's going to find some water or be near it at any rate. If this is now simply a frost wall, then he's not going to see it at all. So I think it's a little extra to.
Should we have, at least have the BMPs on site, not set up, but on site?
We've got plenty of hay bales, even in the short term, if he wants to have sufficient number of hay bales to encircle it. And if they find that they're really into it, they're gonna have to, get something a little more robust out there.
Yeah.
But as long as they have sufficient number of hay bales around to control it, that's fine.
Okay.
So
Well,
we're
we-
proposing mulch stock, actually. We're proposing mulch stock around for the erosion controls, but around the dewatering basin. there's
You
stock.
could also, exactly, you could use the mulch stock for dewatering as well, yeah, exactly. You still say hay bales, but straw.
Okay, no more questions, have a motion?
So it would be to close
Ready to close?
the hearing and
Move to
issue.
close.
I don't have a decision ready tonight, but I will for the 27th.
But you don't have any other requirements? As far as you're concerned, you're ready to close? Any abutters on this property? No abutters answer, I move that we close and issue in 21 days.
Second, and
Oh.
discussion.
Yes.
Typically, we would, this goes back to the pruning note. Typically, we would require that pruning, any and all pruning be done outside the 25-foot no disturb zone. So that will probably be a condition. Is that consistent with the project direction?
It is, yeah. We didn't propose any pruning within the 25-foot no disturb zone.
Okay. So seconded.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next one, 242-1848, 463 Winter Street.
Alrighty, so the commission will recall this is proposal to upgrade an existing septic system and allow for the contractor to work on the existing rear stairs and deck. We had been waiting for a DEP file number, and they finally issued it, so I think we're at the point to close. The project engineer's here if you have any lingering questions, but I don't know if you did.
I don't believe I had any questions that were pending, so I don't remember. You don't remember anything in your notes from the last meeting? I think we just waited for the number, weren't we?
Right.
Correct. Yeah, I'm all set.
Yeah.
I agree, I'm also.
No questions.
Ryan,
No questions.
motion?
Any abutters? Not answered.
I hope not for septic system.
I move that we close and issue 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Excellent presentation.
Thank you very much. I worked on it all day.
All right. Next one is 242-1849, 102 Penny Lane.
Let me. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. All right. See if I can cast it. I'm just trying to get, all right, back up and running here with this. All right,
So Amy, we do have DP number, all right.
we do.
Okay.
I'm just pulling up the site. Alrighty. Alright, so, this project involves demolition of an existing three-season porch at the rear of the house and associated stairs, reconstructing the porch in the same footprint and rotating the stairs 90 degrees to add a landing in order to meet code. A stone infiltration trench is proposed to capture roof runoff and continue around the perimeter of the porch and under the stairs. The applicant wishes to install concrete under the footprint of the porch. The work is for the rear porch and the stairs is entirely within the 50-foot no-build zone. The front concrete landing and first section of walkway will be demolished, and the front door will receive a wider landing with steps, and the walkway will be widened and then tapered off to meet the existing section. And that work is outside of the 50-foot. There is an area of wetland between flags 4 and 5 that have been historically mowed. The applicant bought the property in 2019, and it was like that. But we're proposing to restore that area with native shrubs and install wetland markers to, as the plan shows, to mark it off. We do have a DEP file number. So there's Scug River that either begins or ends in the wetland. And I asked the engineer to project that riverfront line, and none of the work is in the riverfront. It's far out towards the rear of the property, the limit of the 200-foot. And the property is within floodplain, but a base elevation is not given by FEMA, so. project engineer is here this evening if you have questions for him. But that's a recap.
Thank you. Joe?
It looks like the floodplain issue is almost moot anyway because of the type of work they're proposing.
Okay.
It's not be incrementally filling any area that might even be in floodplain, so I don't think that's an issue. Actually, I was reading your first part of the summary, but I think you just clarified it a little better. The method that they used, you seem to think it was, that it was gonna be outside, but it clearly it is. It's outside the riverfront area, in
Yes.
the back.
Yeah.
So that's been confirmed.
Yes.
There is no sewer out in this area, right? You're on this project's on Septic?
That is correct.
So access to and from the project work area of equipment, I mean, do you have a route that makes sense that's not gonna damage the leach field?
That is correct, we do. If you look at the left-hand side of the house, there's an existing driveway over there. We're going to propose all stockpiling and access from the driveway to the rear of the house. Nothing going across the front and down the right-hand side. As you can see, the manholes that are located, that is the approximate location of the leach field and septic system. So it doesn't make sense from maneuverability standpoint to go around the house from the front, so everything's at level in the back on the driveway, which would be encircled with the filter mitt, just to make sure that there's no runoff coming from the driveway.
I'm all set, thank you.
Al?
Oh, good.
Jack?
Yeah, just want to make note of, there's a setback identified on the plan, part plan actually, that from flag A8 to the corner of the three-season porch, 12 by 18, that's 29 feet is the closest, looks like the closest setback from
The wetland?
the wetland.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
That's correct.
That is, so 29 feet.
Is to the existing porch, and the proposed porch would be in the exact same spot, so it'll still be
That's
29.
fine. Okay. No other questions?
Ryan?
So I guess the area that's gonna be planted with native shrubs, so that's not part of the approval or enforcement or anything like that, it's, right?
Well, it was discussed on site, and,
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is just because of monitoring requirements.
yeah,
If it's not actually part of the approval,
Yeah.
I don't know if we can really impose a monitoring period.
yeah.
If it's volunteered, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
It's not to say
it's
we
either mark it off and stop mowing it and let it just grow back the way it wants to.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
could be
I think
an
planting shrubs
approach.
is fine too.
Yeah.
I don't wanna, create encumbrance for 2 years of monitoring.
Yeah.
If it's not actually.
Hold up
Yeah.
the COC. I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, typically, where it's proposed without a lot of specificity, we would condition it that the planting plan would be approved by the Conservation Administrative Office. And that usually works out pretty well. It's not a big area, and I think it's a good offering for putting concrete under that three-season porch. I think that's something the project would like, and this is a good counterbalance to that. So, maybe we condition it that way in the order.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I gave the applicant, a plant list,
Yeah.
native, all native, so
Yep.
she can choose from that.
And just as a point of note, when we met on site, the applicant the reason she bought this house and this parcel was for having the woods and the natural habitat behind her. So when it was discussed about potentially putting plantings in there, she was all for it. She liked the idea to just, get nature more back in that area. She's made her landscapers aware not to go past that line. It's going to be demarcated with the conservation posts. So
Yeah.
that area will remain to grow, whether it's, which specific shrubs are put back there, which specific plants are put back there is up, is in the air, but that area will not be mowed or maintained in the future.
Well, and our office will approve native species that
And
will
that's the
thrive
list.
very well in this area, so I think we're consistent.
Any other questions? No, and then we're gonna placard that, no, we already.
Yes, yeah, it's
Okay.
noted on the plan.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion?
Move that we close.
No, there's no DEP number.
No, we
Oh,
do,
there
we
is,
do,
there
we
is.
do.
Oh, there is?
I gave you a printout of that as well.
Yeah, so we do,
It's on
we
the
have,
agenda.
so we're all set.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Yeah.
1849,
Yeah, that,
thank you.
when I wrote it, we didn't.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I move that we close 242-1849, 102 Penny Lane, and issue a decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Thank you.
So I'll have a decision ready for the next meeting. I couldn't get it done tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
All right, the next one is there is no DEP for this one, 26 Long Pasture Road.
Do you guys need to do a announcement or anything?
No,
No?
I'm
Okay.
just pulling up the plan. And I'll give a brief overview and then I'll hand it over.
Okay.
Alrighty. So this project involves the installation of a 16 by 35 in-ground pool with associated pool equipment, decking, fence, and retaining wall. Some grading is proposed to provide a level space for the pool. Property contains BBW and potential vernal pool, and the 75-foot no-build zone is being respected. Let's see, they're proposing a saltwater filtration system. There is a conservation easement on the property, and based on the plans, all work remains outside of that CR area. The property is within natural heritage. They have written a letter to them, so we're waiting to hear back from Natural Heritage for their input. Let's see. A field inspector met on property with the consultant and homeowners, and the wetland line is accurate. Our inspector found a pump and some hoses, or a hose, next to the pool, and we inquired with the applicant the purpose of that, and they responded that it was an experiment that their teenage daughter was doing, but there wasn't any more use for it, so I guess we can ask them to take it out. I don't know. Let's see. So we don't have a DEP file number, and we are still waiting for Natural Heritage. We have asked for additional details on the plan. I assume they're forthcoming, but I wanted the commission to get a chance to review and provide any feedback. And Kristen Farr from Hancock is with us this evening. She's the wetland consultant. And the applicant, too.
Thank you. Joe?
So the setback from the potential vernal pool for the proposed work is between 76 and 80 feet.
Yep.
It looks like it's 80 feet to the pool and 76 feet.
To a
Not sure what
fence.
that's to. Is that to the no-build?
That's the no-build.
76 is the no-build. So we're meeting
Meeting the 75-foot no-build.
75-foot no, so they're
Build.
doing that regardless of it being certified, not
Yep.
we're asking them to look at
Yep.
that only. Very good. The existing access to the house is, I guess it's not seeing, but it's right off along Pasture itself, is it not?
There's a paved driveway on the west side of the house.
So the opposite side of where the pool is?
Correct.
See the word paved driveway. I see, it turns abruptly out to the street. I got it, so it's nowhere near in the backyard. And then the access for building the pool would be across the front yard or across, no, access route would be across the backyard, and you put erosion controls in for that.
Correct.
On presumed vernal pools, what's the no disturb? There isn't, just
It's
the no build.
50 no
So the
no
access
disturb.
route's gonna be closer than 50.
Yes.
75 no building.
Gotta be in it.
It's 75 no build,
For the no build, and
50 no disturb.
no disturb. So there will be temporary disturbance of the 50-foot
Of the
no
50-foot no
disturb
disturb zone.
because of the access route.
Right. I mean,
Presuming it's a vernal pool.
right.
So I guess that's my question exactly is,
Well-
how else do you get in? They've got
Well,
erosion control separating it. I think
Yeah.
the worst that comes of this is some sort of restoration at the end, which they're gonna do anyways in their backyard.
mhm.
But we need some discussion on that to
Okay.
get it on the record. Maybe what I've just done, it gets off the record.
Sure.
So that's the only thing I have. I'm pretty good otherwise.
Well, there is a septic system at the front of the house, but I'm not sure how far away it is and whether access could be, it seems like if there's no impact to the septic system, access through the front would make a lot more sense. But,
The homeowner gave me a little sketch of where the leach field is in the D-box. Do you want that little sketch to look at?
sure, yeah, you can give it to me and I'll pass it on.
I just got that today.
Yeah, okay.
Along Pasture Road on the right.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to get a building permit anyway, right, which is gonna,
Oh, yeah.
they'll have to be a certain,
Board of Health review.
but that's not gonna.
I don't know, does that-
Not to access.
Right, does the commission want the outline of the septic on the plan? I guess that's the question. It's up to you guys.
Well, I guess what you have there is is a plan that shows the septic in the front
It's
yard.
a sketch by the applicant.
Sketch, which, it's not a survey, so really.
I know.
I guess it really comes down to, are we granting a temporary waiver for temporary activity for access with restoration standards once they complete? If that's what we're doing, does that serve as an alternatives analysis to rule out the frontway access? Or do we just simply say, look, it's not certified, we know it's a resource area, it's only 25 feet, not 50, and therefore they're meeting it? I'm not sure they're meeting the 25 either.
I don't know if they
I
will
don't think they're
either.
meeting the 25
I don't think
either.
so either.
So we have the, like most confined or congested sites, you wouldn't think this is congested, but it is, where the work activity is, we have access to soil stockpiles. You know,
Yeah.
This type of project, they're gonna excavate the pool and have to take it away.
Right.
Minimal backfill. So they need to show us where that is. They are showing us the access, but I think they're gonna have to say, this is a excavate and remove surplus
Yeah.
material.
I agree.
No on-site
Right.
storage. That's what I have. We're curious what others might think.
Yeah, there's no topo on the plan, so I don't really know what kind of grading needs to happen at the pool. And, there's a retaining wall proposed, so it's,
So we need that added to the plan. That has to be revised.
We always ask, I always ask
Topo
that.
is
yeah,
not-
So you have a list here of.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the plan is by a land surveyor, first of all, not an engineer.
Right.
So it's an NOI. It's lacking detail that we're typically used to seeing and relying upon to make a good decision. It's borderline incomplete submission, if not an outright incomplete submission. Yeah, the sheet of paper makes it look dead flat. I have no idea what the terrain looks like. The fact there's a potential vernal pool and shaped like it is, it tells me there's some topography out there that's dropping off pretty quickly to have that be where it is. You did a site visit already?
Taylor was on site.
Taylor, what's your description of the topography of the background? Is it flat?
It does slope, there's a mild slope around the side where the pool is. The back is relatively flat, I would say. But then you have the driveway that comes, sort of slopes down in the lawn area between the driveway and the vernal pool.
But where the dimensions of 76 feet and 80 feet is shown, that area between the pool and the pool, in the vernal pool area potential, is it relatively flat?
Relatively, yeah. I mean, it's not totally flat, there's, mild slope, but
And then as we make our way around to that driveway, still maintaining that same flatness in the backyard?
yeah, more or less.
Well, they're showing a proposed retaining wall, so there's gotta be some type of elevation.
On the side,
Yeah, on
they're
the
showing
side of
that.
the pool,
Yeah,
there's definitely some, I would say the back is flatter.
Would it help if the homeowner described some of the conditions?
What are you asking us?
Would it help if the homeowner described some of the conditions?
Not right now,
Okay.
not right now.
No, you all set for now, Joe?
I'm leaning towards the plan being incomplete. And it certainly doesn't even, doesn't even bear a PE stamp on it. So that's a firm that does a lot of work with us. They know what our filing requirements are. So I think that's an issue.
Al?
I have an issue with I can't get past the pump in the vernal pool. Do we have to have that conversation, or?
It's not in the vernal pool, it was on the
Next to it.
edge of it,
On the edge of it?
not doing anything, it was
Was
just
it
there.
being used to dewater the area?
Not that I know of.
Well, pumps move water,
Yes.
so it was doing something.
The last I heard from the homeowner was that the teenage daughter was using it for an experiment.
So you are,
I am Kristen,
you're Kristen, right?
Yes.
So you're a wetland scientist?
yes.
So it's your job to convince your client of the detrimental effects it'll have on this project if that pump ever goes anywhere near that vernal pool.
Well, I never saw it in there, but it was noted yesterday with Taylor's site visit that it should be removed off the site.
Okay, I'm just being honest with you.
Yep.
That's a real.
I never observed it in the pool.
Okay. So without anybody making any confessions here, without having a Quaker prayer meeting, let's all agree that the pump's out, there's no activity within 50 feet, there's no build within 75 feet.
Mhm.
Let's not have this conversation anymore.
Okay.
All right, thank you, I'm good.
Okay. I agree with Joe. I always ask for elevations on plans.
Yeah, I know you do.
And it's not stamped by an engineer. Also, the vernal pool is considered a wetland, isn't it? So that would come, even if you didn't want to give the 75 to 100, 25 and 50, the construction access is gonna be in the 50,
And the 25.
and the 25.
Yep.
So there's gonna be some land disturbance. Because I saw something about a crane and a bulldozer. What was that all about?
They mean excavator probably, not a crane.
Taylor, you want
So
to?
the
jump in.
homeowner had described a crane bringing in the prefab.
Oh, like one
pool.
piece.
Yep, and then an excavator of some sort, I don't know exactly. They were talking about having that access through the driveway. And possibly the crane would be brought in from the front, from Long Pasture side of the house.
So they wanna run
Closer to the
they wanna
pool.
run their excavator through the septic system?
No,
No,
back of the
back
house.
of the house.
That first, then the crane.
And then the crane, yeah, position the crane in the street and lower the prefab pool.
In the street?
Or front yard or whatever.
I don't think so.
So you just said front yard. I'm looking at that sketch of where they think the leach field is and where they think the D-box is. I don't think they've given us a compelling reason. They don't prove to me at all they've given a reason that access through the backyard,
I
like
agree.
having a waiver, is necessary. I think they're coming through the front yard, and this whole discussion of backyard disturbance goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah. One, we can't give a waiver. Two, we don't know, the whole total of the backyard is very much in question.
So I agree.
And I think, even with all that being the case, I think they're showing that you can get in the front yard.
Yeah. If you can run an excavator in there, you can run everything else. But like you say, I consider the planning complete also. And so we need the septic system put on the plan. We need elevations put on the
Yeah,
plan.
my list.
And then we'll do a discussion on, if we can, we'd like to stay away from the vernal pool. So we're kind of leaning toward some way of getting in the front. So that's
Yeah.
what I'd like to see.
Right. So we
What's
need that
there?
information on,
What's there?
But I don't even want to get tripped up in the presumption it's a vernal pool. It's at least isolated land subject to
Yes.
flooding, which still
It's-
has
or isolated vegetated wetland.
isolated vegetated wetland.
Yes.
But it meets the local definition because of the square footage. May not meet the
Yes.
state definition.
Yep.
So it's probably a local wetland. But we
Yes.
still provided 2550 to it.
Yes,
So whether it's a vernal pool or not, they're not going to meet either no disturb.
Oh.
So whether it's a
That's
vernal pool or
true.
not, it's
That's true.
academic.
yep, yeah,
In,
gotcha.
to get a waiver, they have to prove there's no other access.
Access.
There is, they've proven there is other access. So I think the backyard access is not gonna happen.
Jack?
Yeah, I agree with most of what was been talked about. I think, a reasonably accurate depiction of the subsurface septic system is in order for us to decide about that temporary disturbance of the no disturb zone. That's a tough one, but you don't want to make them destroy their septic system either. I do have one comment about the conservation easement. This kind of came up probably a month and a half ago, having to do with someone not understanding where the conservation easement was, and this one looks like one that we should treat the same way, which is to mark it, put just several markers across the backyard that show the boundaries of the conservation easement, especially where, if, inadvertently someone was moving water around from one wetland to a vernal pool or vice versa, that's altering the area that is statutorily required to maintain in its current natural conditions. So I think where we have that, we could maybe condition some demarcation of the conservation easement boundary line on this project.
As well, okay.
That's all, Ryan.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, we need all the information when we talk about septic. I'd like to see basically everything that you listed
The
out.
list.
I think we need to see on the plans.
Stockpile area, elevations.
I do like the idea of demarcating the conservation easement, but the wetland actually extends beyond the conservation easement, so.
I was gonna raise the same point.
Concerned about.
That may be misleading, that,
Exactly.
that the area outside the conservation easement isn't protected, when in reality it is.
Yeah.
We usually
Yeah, yeah,
require
yeah.
limitation of the 25, which would do the same thing.
Right.
Okay,
That's all I
so
got.
We'll figure that out.
we know, so we have to continue.
Yep,
And you have, these people know, but you'll have, they want to come and see you and remind them what we're looking for.
yeah, I detailed list of the missing information on the plans as discussed.
Okay, we were
So
working
look-
on it.
So we're looking for elevations,
Yep.
septic system location,
Mm-hmm.
We need stockpile area,
Stock-
PE stamp.
PE stamp.
PE stamp, And,
dewatering area.
yeah, dewatering and,
Do you want cross-section of the retaining wall?
but we don't know about the construction aspect, so we have to find out where the front is.
Cross-section of retaining wall isn't separating it from the wetland area, so that may be a little,
Well, that's the other thing, we don't even have an elevation for the wall, is it 2 feet, is it 10?
Anticipate the retaining wall to be more than 4 feet, or 4 feet or more? 2 feet? It's gonna be 2. It's
Okay,
gonna be like a 2-foot wall.
well, you gotta show it on the plan.
Yeah,
Building a little more.
I flunked mind reading in high school.
You flunked what?
okay.
Mind reading.
yeah, and just for the applicant's benefit, because they're here, is, we're not asking for anything that
We don't
that
usually.
the engineers who
Don't know.
usually represent people already know this. So the fact that we're asking for it now is something they should have provided from the get-go and didn't. And I can't explain that these folks, this engineering firm, has appeared before us for dozens, if not tens of dozens, of applications over the years. And for whatever reason, they just didn't do it on this one.
So I need a motion to continue.
So moved.
To the 27th?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next one. RDA 901 Johnson Street.
All right, so Commission will recall that this is RDA for removal of an existing deck and associated stairs and replacing both in a smaller footprint. And that brings it further away from the wetland. 6 new footings will be dug to support the new rear deck. Let's see. Commission will recall at the last meeting that an outdoor kitchen or bar structure was identified in the 25 that did not receive permitting. Commission asked for a 2-to-1 buffer zone restoration to allow for that structure to stay because it would involve quite a bit of disturbance to remove it. Conservation staff worked with the homeowner, who have been very responsive, and we marked out an area of 715 square feet of currently mowed lawn up against the wetland into a restoration area. So that's a 2.6 to 1 ratio of return. So that's been replanted with native shrubs and has been seeded with a native seed mix.
Already been done.
Yes,
Wow,
it's
nice.
done. And
What was that?
it's been marked off as well. So I can pull it
Any questions, Joe?
up. So, here it
Thank
is.
you. No questions.
No, good, thank you.
I like that.
You're welcome anytime.
I'm gonna cry to take that down. It was so nice. Check, no
Yeah,
question.
you've done what we've asked you to do. I have no questions.
Right,
No questions, appreciate it.
Thank you.
motion?
Do we still have discussion on the deck? You were satisfied with the deck, right?
Oh, what deck?
I think we were okay.
The actual project we were okay with.
Yeah.
What deck?
Move that we
So
close.
close the hearing and issue a negative
Negative.
number 3?
Yes.
With conditions, okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next one. 148 Main Street.
They amended the scope.
They amended the scope. To eliminate the proposed reclaim of the existing parking lot and repaving and excavation for irrigation system, and whittle it down to removal of Asiatic bittersweet, growing with an existing arborvitae hedge, and allow for root collar excavation of trees that are in the no disturb zone to extend their life. I just had a question if the commission would consider allowing removal of the bittersweet within the 25-foot no disturb zone, because it's invasive and it just seems silly to leave it there, but, and it's wrapped and entangled in existing arborvitae. So, just
It's
something.
going to help the arborvitae as well as the buffer zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that last statement. It's, I think maybe they were pulling back a little bit because they've heard us in the past say that we're not gonna let them work in the 25 no
Yeah.
disturb. We're saying it's okay to. They may decide budget-wise they're not gonna do it, but
Yep.
that they can scale back anything that they propose. But I think you're right. We want any invasive eradication of invasive plants to occur right up to in the boundary. one of the things they also pulled out was not just the reclaim and pave, but they also pulled out the irrigation.
Yep.
Irrigation.
Irrigation, yep.
That's all I have. I'm fine.
Al?
All set.
Jack?
Yep,
Fine.
fine.
Say remove bittersweet wherever it exists.
Absolutely. No, there's a lot of people here. We have a butters here? No?
No abutters answer?
Okay.
Muscus was doing that work, right? Did they say that they were gonna, I mean, the implication is gonna be probably gather it and dispose of it, but we certainly want it removed from site and probably
Yeah.
dispose of.
Yeah.
So,
We
that'll
can
be-
add that
We'll
as a
condition it,
condition.
yeah.
Okay. So, have a motion?
I move that we close and issue a -3 with the following conditions: pre-activity site inspection with both contractors. Erosion controls may be required by the Conservation Department's discretion for roof collar work. And post-activity site inspection with both contractors to review work done and verify compliance.
And removal of the bittersweet, the cut bittersweet vines off-site.
And capital letters.
Removal from site and properly disposed of.
Proper, yep.
All
So
invasive.
amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 465 Ray Street.
Alrighty. Alright. I'm just trying to pull up the plan here. Okay. Alrighty, so the commission will recall that this house is part of the, more recent Ray Street subdivision. It's the first house on the left as you enter the subdivision, and it's got the most resource areas on it. Both orders governing the subdivision for the street and the lots have released the lots. So the order governing the lots have been closed out. The subdivision roadway order released the lots, but it's still open for the roadway finishing, things like that. So the project under this RDA consists of installation of a 400 square foot or so natural stone patio at the rear of the house with a short retaining wall on the west side. I've talked to the applicant about the use of polymeric sand in between the joints, and they can use a different type of sand for better infiltration. Shift the existing boulders that were installed by the developer to gain more yard space. So these boulders weren't placed exactly on the true edge of the no disturb zone lines and can be shifted further to be at the 100-foot riverfront area line and the 25-foot no disturb zone. There's existing markers out there that are right on those lines and can be reliable, visible guides to the contractor. They want to utilize the existing boulders and then build them up to make a more beautiful wall, because it's kind of not really the most
Rubble.
aesthetic thing. So they want to make it to be more of a landscape feature. They'd like to install a play structure in lawn and install a native planting bed along the westerly property line to add screening between their neighbors. Aside from the play structure, the 25 and the 50-foot are respected. And the erosion controls installed by the developer are still in place and they're still functioning. And I had suggested just for them to leave it so they don't have to spend the money on installing them. So they've got pre-installed erosion controls sitting there. And then the construction access will be through the driveway. There's really no other way to access that area. Homeowner's here with us this evening if you have questions for him.
Thank you.
Yep.
Joe?
As I recall, the subdivision, the stormwater analysis was done in the aggregate of all of the houses, all of the driveways, all of the roadways, and it was done in a very thread the needle sort of way that it was pretty close, so that infiltration of the patio is critical. Critical. If you polymeric sand in it, it's impervious.
That's right.
Just may as well put a roof over it. So, yeah, that's a very important part of the project. 6 by 18-foot swing sets tend to grow as the kids grow.
Yeah.
Becomes jungle gyms, becomes towers, becomes
Yep.
slides and other things. So it's a structure. I wouldn't put, again, that can't be in the 50.
In the 50, okay. So I know you guys are still trying to figure out exactly what the play structure will be. But I think the commission's leaning towards.
That's me. I mean, let's see what others think.
Yeah,
That's me.
It may be that.
Yeah, it's a structure that's likely to grow and by, and it should as the kids grow, but it just can't be there for that to happen. And that's all I have. Everything else is pretty straightforward.
Yeah?
The last thing in the world I'm ever gonna do is deny a play structure for a child, so.
In the 25? Actually, in the 50.
In the 50.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna, I would approve it if it were up to me. Just can't do it, can't deny a play structure for a kid. Give me something else to bite into.
We get them as violations, then we deal with them though.
I think this looks approvable to me. And with all due respect to you, you're
That's
not
why you
wrong.
deferred. That's why you deferred
You're
on
not
it.
wrong when you say they grow. It may grow, but I think if we issue enough information to the homeowner to try to help us help them.
It's the reason why I deferred.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Jack?
Yeah, I agree with most of it. And I think the patio looks fine, the plantings look fine, the wall relocation there needs to be if this is an RDA negative, there needs to be post-inspection because you're going right up to the 25 on that. The play structure, I just have a vague memory that it might be mentioned in our bylaw somewhere. Whether it's a structure or not a structure. And I think that would be the guidance I'd rely on. But anyway, otherwise it looks negative to me.
All right?
Yeah, I don't have anything further, other than, yeah, I'm a little torn about the swing set myself, but I don't have a problem with approving it.
I don't either.
Amy's doing some research here real quick.
Okay.
Because Jack did just, I think he hit on something. I think we further defined it in the bylaw at some point.
As it
This is
being
not
a
the first-
structure or not being.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
not the first time.
And we've never seen a violation come in for the structure itself. We've seen violations in the vicinity where structures are because they did other activities.
Exactly. I think you're right, Jack. I just don't remember.
Would you think it would be in a definition?
Definitions, probably
Under
structure.
definitions of structures.
If it's not the bylaw, it might be the rest.
Definition of no build zone, maybe?
Oh, well, no build zone. No structures shall be permitted in the 50-foot. Structures include but are not limited to foundations and footings associated with single-family houses, multifamily dwellings, commercial and/or industrial buildings, and footings, pilings, impervious pads or sonotubes associated with decks, porches, patios, house additions, building additions, pools, septic systems, and sheds.
Okay.
So I guess the
It's not
including but not limited to is
Yeah.
sort of a blanket,
Okay.
So I guess that leaves it as discretionary to the commission.
yeah.
All right.
And we've been consistent with sheds, and rightfully so. Okay.
Okay,
I'd be of a mind to leave it.
okay. So let's have a motion?
So say that again, you'd be the mind to do what?
Leave the play structure
allow
as
it.
proposed,
To allow it.
between the 50 and the 25.
Okay, I got it, okay. So, I don't know if there's any abutters here this evening?
Are there
If there's
anybody
any
here?
abutters?
They're all in a hurry to get out of here. They're not talking.
We have a crowd for something.
Everybody's saying they must have wanted to come see the show.
That's good.
Did you want to add anything?
Seconded.
No, sounds great to me.
Okay.
I wouldn't say
okay.
anything.
Unless
Let's just move on.
Amy, you ready for you have a
Yeah,
recommendation,
so,
please?
to close and issue a negative number 2 and 3, pre-construction meeting with the conservation staff, with the homeowners and the contractors, just to review the project, the means and methods. All materials shall be stockpiled and equipment stored at the end of the driveway, and then a post-construction meeting to verify compliance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Like Judge Judy says, don't say anything, you're winning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't break my hat in that swing set, now.
That goes can't be like. Right Street we just did. 85 Holly Ridge.
Right. Alrighty. This project involves replacing the existing deck boards and railings on an existing rear deck and the stairs, and that's a measurement of 12 by 16. Expanding the deck by 10 feet along the house. The new section of deck will receive 2 new footings, 4 feet deep and 12 inches in diameter. All work is within the lawn area. Based on my measurements on site, the work is 61 feet from the BBW at its closest point, which is the existing stair replacement, and the new section of deck is 71 feet from the BBW. All work is outside of the 200-foot riverfront to Mosquito Brook. I didn't see any issues on site. The homeowners are here this evening with his contractor.
Yeah.
So if you have questions for them, they're here for you.
No, it's a pretty straightforward application, and separations are being maintained. I'm all set.
Yeah?
I agree, I'm all set.
Okay.
You verified the setbacks and the proposed
Yep.
setback to the new?
Yep, I measure them myself.
Okay. I'm all set.
Brian,
No questions?
motion?
So close and issue a negative 3, pre-construction meeting. Did I already say this? I feel like I just said it, but,
No.
just pre-construction meeting with the homeowner and the contractor to review conditions. All materials to be stockpiled and stored at the end of the driveway, and then a post-construction meeting with the conservation staff. I don't think erosion control is necessary.
Well, that can be
It's-
your call in the field.
Yeah, okay.
That's the
All right, so
pre-construction, so you can make that. call.
allowing for erosion control to be at the agent's
At the
discretion.
discretion of the owners.
Okay.
So move to it all.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Excellent presentation.
Thanks for coming.
Great job, fellas.
Next one is 250 Apple Street.
Oh, thank you. Is it now? What are we looking at? Apple, 250. Street plan. Alrighty. This project proposes to replace in kind the existing driveway. It has a culvert that carries an intermittent stream associated with the BBW. Portions of the driveway are located in 25 due to the culvert. And a waiver request has been submitted for allowing for a full reclaim and repave of the driveway within those zones. Project engineers here this evening if you have questions for him. Our field inspector reviewed the wetland line in the field and found it to be accurate.
Joe?
So I see 3 notations of the plans pointing out culverts, one of which is beneath the driveway, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. And where's it moving water from and to?
So it's, if you look at the wetland flags that are on there, it's flowing from A1 to A19. Then that's heading out to Abbott Street, and then it goes under Abbott Street.
So it's that's the,
So it's the school
that's the
next
school,
door.
the school
Exactly.
parking lot
And
coming
Yep.
underneath their driveway across here. Okay, got it. And you're reclaiming and rebuilding the driveway, but do we know the clearance and how they're gonna protect the culvert?
Yeah, there's actually, so under the driveway, where the wetland is running under the driveway, there's actually 2 corrugated metal pipes there. There's actually 2 reinforced concrete pipes that we found the outlet sides, no inlet sides. So it looks like they replaced them with 2 corrugated metal pipes. The shoulders in there, there's plenty of room to put erosion controls on the sides, which is what we're proposing. So we can easily protect the resource areas at the crossing and along the lengths where we're in the buffer zone.
But not replacing the culvert at all?
Not replacing the culverts.
Regardless of how corrugated may or may not marry into,
Well, no, the
Concrete.
corrugated is actually all the way through. It's the oddest thing. You've got the corrugated going under the driveway, and you can see the evidence of the stream traveling through the corrugated pipes. And then there's a little upstream, there's 2 reinforced concrete pipes on one side that there's no evidence that anything's ever been flowing to it, like for the last 5 years. And there's no evidence of outlets on the other side.
okay.
So it's really odd.
So the corrugators are working, you're leaving in place and scratching our heads on the concrete and
Yes.
leaving them in place.
You got it.
All set.
Concrete sounds like critter channels to me.
And again, there's no sides on the other side, so there's no throughway. Like even we tried to push up to see like, well, where is it, to try to find the outlet on the other
Okay.
side?
You can't find it.
No.
Excellent. I'm all set.
It's an old Calzetta remnant. It's
Yeah.
the farm, to the farm.
It sounds like an old tile, or may have been a tile
It
that had
kind-
been discontinued before these houses were built.
Right.
Before the school was built, that was all open field area. And part of the 2 farms in the area, one of them was the Ray Farm and the other would be the Calzetta, and it very well could have been a tile. And we find them all the time.
Yeah.
Best left alone.
Yeah. Agreed.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jack?
No questions.
Ryan?
No questions.
Okay, motion?
So close the hearing and issue a -3 with conditions, pre-construction to inspect erosion controls and go over the project with the contractor. Any excess spill shall be hauled off-site and disturbed shoulders shall be loam seeded and blanketed with clean straw. Post-construction meeting with Conservation Department to verify compliance and approve removal of erosion control.
Do we know that they're actually pulverizing? Is that
Yes.
known at this point?
Yep.
How much cover do you have from the roadway, from the driveway surface to that crown of the corrugated? When you're pulverizing, you're getting down 18, 24 inches of impact, not so much disturbance, but vibration and whatnot.
Yeah, it's over 2 feet.
You got over to, all set.
I didn't see the pulverizer. How pulverized driveway? I mean, one
It's a long-
does
it's
it.
a long driveway.
I'll move it as described by the administrator.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, John.
Next one. 180 Marble Ridge Road.
This one's already started. Already started?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All righty. We can see that. Might be. It's kind of hard to see, but you have a highlighted plan in your packet, so. All right, so this is an after-the-fact RDA for another driveway replacement, full reclaim of the existing driveway and repave in the same footprint. So entailed removal of 2,900 square feet or so of existing asphalt, underlying material excavated to 12 inches and replaced with 12 inches of 1.5 inch stone base, asphalt driveway installed of 2 inches of 3/4 binder and 1.5 of 3/8 finish grade asphalt. I had to shut the work down because obviously doing out with that out of permit, but they're at the point where they had ripped up all the asphalt and they were starting to level out the material.
Right.
Right. So they were cooperative, they stopped work, and they filed this RDA. The plan that you see, it says proposed porch, but it was submitted before the planning board a couple years ago for a front porch, and we verified that the porch was out of jurisdiction, so they didn't have to file with us. River is across the street. The riverfront projects about halfway up the driveway, but it's on the other side of the street. Homeowners here with us this evening if you have any questions. And we do have a culvert, a little culvert that runs underneath the mouth of the driveway to carry that BVW flow.
Joe?
So, Amy, when you say resource area across the street, across Marble Ridge or across Dale?
Marble Ridge.
Marble Ridge, but it also extends up along the Dale Street, but it's on property,
Yes.
or it should be off property,
Oh, yeah,
except for the front corner.
right.
So we're seeing 25 and 50 no disturb and no builds shown on the plan. And the purpose of this plan was probably surveyed and prepared for the porch
For the
project,
porch,
but it's great because it's probably still valid, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's good to use it.
yes,
So the driveway here was what was in place then.
yes,
Is what's disturbed now.
Exactly.
And what's going to be put back in place, and nothing else, correct?
correct.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay. And you're not getting down into that culvert area at all. At this point, had you not been stopped, you would have graded it, compacted it, and paved it.
Yeah.
And that's all you're looking to do now?
Exactly.
No questions?
So Amy, this is an after-the-fact filing?
It is,
Was the after-the-fact protocol completed?
yes.
The
Meaning,
fees for an after-the-fact
I
filing?
believe so.
The triple fee, yes.
Did you pay the triple fee?
I did.
I'm all set.
I'm looking at this picture,
Just follow the money, buddy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
just from my own perspective. This picture here, it's just the old driveway ripped out, the subgrade wasn't put in yet,
I believe it was, yes.
subgrade is in.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask, because it said 12 inches of subgrade, and I'm looking at your lawn, the driveway's gonna be awful higher than your lawn would be. So,
Yeah.
so the 12 inches subgrade really isn't gonna happen.
It's in place, the subgrade is in place or it's not?
It is.
It
That's what
is,
he
yes.
says.
Yeah, okay. That means the height makes sense. My question is about the catch basin. There's a catch basin up near the garage. Are you keeping that as part of this
Yes.
project?
I wasn't planning to disturb that in any way. I just
Yeah, that was intact.
Yep. Where does that empty into?
I'm not exactly sure where it goes. I mean, if you ask me, I mean, I think there might, there's like if you look into it, there seems to be like an outflow from there that kind of like heads, towards the driveway. But I don't know where it
I
goes.
don't know either.
That was there when we bought that property.
Okay, but you're keeping it.
Yeah.
Okay. No more questions?
Right,
No questions.
motion.
So, close the hearing, issue a negative number 2 and 3, with conditions, pre-construction, erosion controls, all areas of grassy shoulders, which it may not happen, but, if they're disturbed, loam and seed them, and post-construction to verify compliance.
And add, and evidence, verification, provide evidence that any debris that fell in that catch basin was in
Oh,
fact
yeah.
removed.
Okay. Okay. inspect catch basin.
That was an amendment, or added to, so moved.
Second?
That was a recommendation.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Just trying to help
All
out.
right, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming
I thought-
in. So
I thought
I'll
Amy
get the
was moving.
permit to you, if not this week, early next, and then we'll have a pre-construction meeting with your contractor.
Okay,
Okay?
perfect, thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Next one is Oozla Boardwalk.
Let's see here. Alrighty. So this project is coming before you by the Friends of North Andover Trails, and they are proposing a bog bridge on a town-owned property that is known as the former Oosler property. They're proposing to install a approximately 48-foot-long, 30-inch wide bog bridge consisting of 16-foot hemlock planks elevated by wooden sleepers. The wooden sleepers will be either elevated or slightly dug into the ground depending on ground conditions and slope. The proposed bog bridge will cross a narrower section of the wetland within the open field to connect the proposed seasonally mowed paths. Paths on this property had been contemplated from the beginning when the town was looking to purchase the property. FONAT has secured funds from the CPC to undertake project materials, and volunteer hours will accomplish the construction. Greenbelt holds the CR and has approved this activity. Glenn from FONAT is with us this evening if you have questions.
Hi.
Joe?
For him.
The debate at the last meeting was around the mowing up on Half Mile Hill, not the bog bridge itself, so I think
Right.
we just wanted to see that detail, and we've got it, right? Is that
Yeah,
all we needed?
we knew that a bridge was coming, and he was in the
I'm
midst
all
of
set.
getting the application ready.
Do we know if they made any progress on the mowing, the cross-country
They,
trail?
they mowed.
They did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They, in fact, they took our suggestion for the exact piece of equipment to use, made it right through. I think we can all agree it came out nice.
Yeah.
Good, excellent, I'm all set.
And if they
Think
do
that-
any repairs, they're gonna, any potholes, they're gonna fill them with wood chips.
Yeah, they had kids running it already.
Yep, yep, the kids are running it, the bush hog did everything. In fact, it acted as a leveler and
Yeah.
mower at the same time.
Kind of did.
Yeah.
I walked it a couple times.
It's a good piece of machinery.
You're supposed to run it into cross-country.
I know, but I'm too old for that.
Never too old, Jack. Mayday, Maven.
So I have nothing else, I'm all set.
All right.
I'm all set, thank you.
I'm all set, Jack.
Yeah, I'm all set. I applaud your efforts, Glenn, with FONAT and giving us access to our beautiful open spaces in town.
Thanks.
No questions.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any
I
abutters.
was gonna just say that.
There
Are there any
that wanna
abutters
be
for
heard?
this project?
No,
No butters? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, they don't want to talk.
I don't know, I'll speak from here, why? That's okay. So we need a motion.
So, a -2 and 3, with conditions, pre-construction meeting. Height, I put this in, the height of the boardwalk should be such that it not impede any water flow, because it is sort of a intermittent channel. No uprooting of vegetation aside from what's needed to install the sleepers, and a post-construction meeting to verify compliance.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. All set, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Excellent.
Glad you came.
Another excellent presentation.
I'll see you in August.
Okay.
All right, next one. Modification, 242-1808.
And that's for Beechwood, right? don't know if anyone's here. Is anyone here for Beechwood? Oh, sorry. Oh, okay, good, glad. Okay, that's okay.
How we doing?
Just pull up the, I think this is it. I'm just trying to pull up the plan. All right. All righty, so this is an existing order issued in May of 2021, and it governs the construction of a 3-story self-storage facility, parking, underground infiltration chambers, and grading and utilities and landscaping. Work is well underway. Project is in compliance. This modification is requesting, well, what they're proposing to do is add 2 additional garage doors at the southwest corner of the building, and that requires about 500 square feet of additional pavement at that corner for access to those garage doors. New pavement within the proposed limits of the chain link fence, and it's still outside the 50-foot no build. This new pavement will take place of some proposed snow storage. The northwest side of the building received 4 additional garage doors, and it requires moving the proposed parking area to the north, but out of the buffer zone. This shift will take up some snow storage as well. At first, I thought that perhaps the lost snow storage could be shifted to where the septic system is, because I thought that the project was going to connect to the Route 125 sewer project, but the timing of the 2 projects aren't matching up, so the project does have to build the septic. Project representative is here this evening if you have questions.
Okay.
That's it.
Joe? You used the word septic right at the very end of that, and trailed off. At least my mind trailed off. Is that what we're seeing up in the, as I'm looking at the plan, the upper left-hand corner in red?
Yeah,
Is that
it's
septic
that
or is that infiltrated?
rectangle, yeah, that intersects
That's
with
not
the
stormwater
red.
infiltration, that's septic?
Correct.
Septic, yeah,
Yep,
yes.
Septic's northwest.
but not stormwater,
Stormwater's south.
on the south side of it,
West.
okay.
So, now that I look at it, so the red is the new shift,
Mhm.
and so it does intersect with the septic. So does septic need to get rejiggered?
No issue there. We've checked with, the engineer confirmed that was not an issue.
Okay.
Jason.
Okay.
So what,
And
I
who
guess
are
whether
you?
septic.
I'm with the developer, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, if it
Name-
was-
name-
Will Duffy.
Will Duffy, okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, if this was,
Sorry.
my line of question was gonna be if it was infiltration as part of
no.
stormwater, it would be our jurisdiction, and I'd be concerned with parking over. Same holds true with septic.
Yeah.
Is concerned with it, but do we have some sort of statement or some, do we have something official out of Board of Health? They don't typically like parking over septic unless they designed it properly and they got the proper
Yeah,
separations.
I don't know.
So I'd be,
There's no parking over it, sir. It's just a turnaround area.
But it's still pavement, right?
Correct, yeah.
well, if you're displacing parking spaces, I can see it, there's definitely gonna be parking over it. In that corner, right where the double tank is, double manhole covers, it shows parking spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. And by shifting it, those same 4 spaces are moving. So that, yes, there is parking on it. You're just not drawing the lines, but you're absolutely displacing parking and it's where it's gotta go. So that's an inaccurate statement. Again, septic is not part of our stormwater system, but I think if we're considering modification, I think we owe it to another board to have them chime in on the impact of the septic system with vehicles on top of it. I'm inclined to not do anything until we hear something from the Board of Health.
Okay.
Amy Jean did have passed it on to us to look at. She had, planning had no comment.
Okay. I don't know if she had,
I have an email
I
if we
don't know
need
if
it.
she had the Board of Health look at it, though. The Health Department, I'm not sure. I mean, the septic is outside of the buffer.
Yeah, and there was always impervious over the septic in initial approvals.
And this work is, the shift is within the buffer, but it's minimal, right?
Correct.
It looks like.
Correct.
Yeah, been on the board on this commission long enough to go back to the days when we were critical, when we didn't share information, and people would make decisions and with blinders on, that would affect us, and we didn't like it. I still think the Board of Health needs to know about this.
Yeah.
The modification to shift the parking is part of what's before us, and it's clearly moving that parking. I mean, they're just not drawing the lines. They're clearly moving it over the septic system.
Normally, if there's other boards that have us, that they're on table, we don't make decisions before we, like planning or zoning. So it's the same thing, it's just they don't know about it yet.
It's a courtesy that I'd like to extend to them. That's all I have. Everything else looks fine.
So I pulled up the approved plan. So I think the septic is right next to the drive aisle. So I don't know if it was always.
You also provide us the approved plan, which looks different from that, for whatever reason. This has topography, this doesn't.
Oh, yeah, this was just one of the plan sheets.
Yeah. Like, yeah, but clearly, there's 4 parking spaces there, and for the applicant to say that there's no parking, it's just a turnaround, that's just not true.
Yeah, you're correct. That was a misstatement on my part. Sorry.
So, you have any more?
All right, so you,
Jack, you have any questions?
do you,
No, not really. I mean, I was just wondering, do we have enough snow stockpile? But I don't know how to answer that. Because we're
Depends
losing.
on how much snow we get.
Yeah, I know. So I don't want to belabor the discussion. We probably have enough.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I sort of have the same concern, especially at the end here. You know, they're not going to be pulling snow out; they're going to be pushing it toward the edge of the pavement. So, you know, the question is, where's that snow going to go? And also, it looks like there's going to be 440 square feet of additional impervious for a new parking, or
My understanding was the impervious stays the same, or less, actually. It's less impervious.
it says new area to be paved.
Yeah, because they're shifting everything up, but they're eliminating in another couple of areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is just because the stormwater standards, and obviously I wasn't here for the original approval. The comment is, where is it here? The proposed additional impervious area can be easily accommodated by the proposed stormwater management system. So, you know, I don't know how the rest of the commission feels, but I guess I would just like some backup to that, whether it's, you know, calculations or, you know, looking at.
Yeah, sure. I think ample was provided during initial approvals.
Well, that would have been based on the approved plan, right? So
Sure.
now even though the impervious surface is shifting, part of it is shifting outside of the buffer zone. In terms of stormwater, that all still is within jurisdiction. So
Okay.
So the same amount of impervious surface is being shifted, and then you're adding another area of impervious surface. There's actually additional impervious on the site.
Well, no, there's less. Sorry, because we're eliminating it this plan's kind of unclear, but we're eliminating it. I wish the engineer was here to speak to this, but my understanding from the engineers, we're eliminating it in one area, but adding in that other area. All we're doing is shifting that square up.
Right.
Where the black is shown, right? So can I just point at the board? Is that all right?
Yeah, so that square is shifting, but that's the same area of impervious surface, right? It's shifting.
This goes away.
Right, but then it gets gained. Right. So I guess,
goes away.
Yeah, but
we
the
wanted to
letter
make
says-
sure we weren't increasing the amount of
but it does
wait,
say.
so that goes away, or is it gonna be?
Yeah, it's my
Proposed additional
understanding.
impervious.
Or this is, I believe this is additional to access this unit. This goes away, and then, again, I can have the engineer come back next time, because I feel like I'm not explaining this well.
Yeah, I guess, so the engineer says the proposed additional impervious area. can be accommodated by the proposed.
Oh, okay,
stormwater
then maybe he
management
has okay.
And based on what I'm seeing, that would be true.
Okay.
Because if this stays the same dimension and just shifts.
Yep.
Right, that's
Yep.
not gonna change the impervious area. But
Sure.
when you pave this area, that's gonna add.
Fair,
the
yeah,
additional-
and what you're saying is you want to see the calculations to support that, right?
Yeah, just something showing that the stormwater system that's proposed will
Yeah.
accommodate that extra. And I'm sure, based on the size.
It's
I'm
huge.
sure the stormwater,
Yeah.
it's ample.
It's actually exposed right now if you
Yeah.
wanted to drive by and see it.
Yeah,
It's-
but just something to back that up so we can,
Yeah.
confirm that.
Yeah, no problem. We can provide whatever you need.
That's all I got.
Good point.
All right, so we need a motion to continue.
So moved. Second.
To
All
the
in
July
favor?
27th?
So do we need to go in front of DOH
So
or?
I would say the commission would want this plan to be submitted to the health department for review per septic,
Okay,
and then we're asking for some calcs for the additional
sure,
impervious
just
surface.
the calcs to back it up, which we have in
Yeah.
hand, so I can send
Yeah.
those to you.
Really standards 2, 3, and 4.
That's fair.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
All right, understood. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Will. Yeah.
So we have a motion, who's seconded it?
I seconded.
All right.
Oh, you seconded?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. It was Al and Jack.
Okay.
Hey, we get to flip the page.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Next one, 242-1799, 243 Great Pond Road.
All righty.
Mr. Chairman, before we start getting into the section, I just want to vent on what I see happening as a trend that's pretty alarming. Not only was a lot of this prior activity in the earlier part of this agenda the result of older enforcement actions coming before us, but it seems like the frequency of enforcement is getting ridiculous. Not that we're doing an aggressive job of enforcing it, it's just the people out there simply don't understand what we're doing again, and they're going wild, doing whatever they want, and it's really frustrating.
I know, but what are we gonna do?
I just want to, those are people who may be sitting at home thinking about what we do and understanding it. This is an alarming trend.
Well, let me make a suggestion. Many years ago, when Mike Howard was the administrator here, he printed up educational pamphlets and had them delivered routinely to every resident in town on multiple occasions. He would
Now
do it.
we have subscribers to news, do the same thing and press a button and everybody gets it in town.
But it's gotta be an educational thing. If you don't, the average person's not gonna look up the wetland bylaws. It's just not happening. And if there's some type of just a little pamphlet or some education or an email or something on the website,
Yep.
something to call attention, just to
Yep.
say, hold on, just, pump the brakes
Yep.
and make a
Yep.
phone call. And I bet you could eliminate the vast majority.
Hour and a half of every meeting.
But I think education is, it's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, enforcement should really be education at the end of the day. If it's not, malicious or willful, and it's just made a mistake, education should be the priority.
Yeah, so let's help them out.
Exactly.
And the result will be, we'll sit here less time.
Yeah, nobody wants to go spend thousands of dollars to bring in fill, place it to expand their driveway, just
gonna
to
try
spend
to-
thousands of dollars to remove it, right?
I'm gonna try to find one of those pamphlets in the archives. I know we have
Okay.
some. It was just,
I can,
We have
Yeah,
so
we
many
can do
opportunities with
Twitter
our
and-
direct mailing now.
yep.
And I don't mean
And
US
social
Postal
media
Service.
as well.
Yeah, it's a
And-
great way to get the
anyway,
word out, and every 3 or 4 months we just republish
Yeah.
something fresh that's more fresh. Anyway, that's
No.
enough of my venting.
Okay.
Thanks.
I agree with you.
242-1799, 243 Great Pond Road.
All righty. So the commission issued an enforcement order with a deadline to remove the hardscape encroachments that went into the CR, the conservation restriction. CR markers were maintained throughout the remedy operation, but during so, the building inspector discovered that the retaining wall needed a building permit because it was 4 feet. And so that stalled their progress for a week or so. But they were able to remove all the encroachments. So right now, what they need to do is clean up the site, get the plantings going, But in terms of respecting the CR with, with the hardscape portion of the project, they're in compliance. So I recommend leaving the enforcement order open to allow them to continue with the plant, the cleanup, the planting. So that's where we're at.
Okay, so we'll just continue the enforcement
So
order.
we could
I agree.
continue
I just don't know if you want to pass it down, see if
to
anybody.
the July meeting.
This one is not valid.
We're good. We did mention that wall, and they insisted it was just a little wall, and.
Well, originally it was a 2-foot wall.
Right, now it's a 4-foot, and we
Now
knew
it's a
that.
Now
No,
it's a
it
6-foot
was always
wall.
a 4-foot wall.
We cautioned them,
It
Joe.
was
But then-
always that.
Yeah, then they had it doesn't
And
matter.
it just-
Doesn't matter.
Okay, so you're just
they're
looking for a
doing it.
2-week continuance, right?
Yes.
You want to continue
Yes.
for 2 weeks? So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Because we're not finding them right now, right?
No, we're
We
not.
should.
Okay, this has been,
Okay.
this
There's
is a
second?
perfect example, Joe.
Second,
That one. Okay,
to
I
continue.
think
with
there's a
the-
motion and a second.
yeah, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 50 Peterson Road.
Alrighty. Commission will recall issuing an enforcement order, which required removal of non-native trees and wood chips from the BVW and installing 4 posts with wetland markers. Our field inspector confirmed that all directives were met on time. Non-native fruit trees have been removed from the wetland, wood chips have been removed. The posts are installed, and the Phragmites are filling back in with a vengeance, as anticipated.
I wonder how.
So,
Joe, any
Yeah.
questions?
No questions. It's a lot of work.
I have no questions.
Jack?
No question.
Brian?
No questions.
Motion?
so recommend lifting the
I-
enforcement order.
I move that we close out the enforcement order and bid farewell to Mr. Zahn.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Thank you
night.
so
Thank you. You're all
much for your
set.
cooperation.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
He's great.
Next one is 450 Marble Ridge Road.
Alrighty. Let's see, so, okay, so this was importation of fill to the shoulder of the driveway in the 25 and up against the wetland. Commission issued an enforcement order requiring the fill removal and engagement of a wetland consultant, delineation of the wetland, and preparation of a replanting plan or restoration plan, all with different deadlines. So fill has been removed, and the area has been seeded and blanketed with biodegradable blankets and New England wetland seed mix, and an upland mixed on the upland slopes. And actually, we received today a report from their consultant, Norse Environmental. The wetland has flagged on July 12th, and they're recommending they have an initial recommendation for a planting. It's not formal, but it's a narrative at least. So they're recommending planting of high bush blueberry to be planted at the base of the slope, 3-foot minimum size, 10 to 15 feet on center, and the remaining wetland area to be seeded. In the hopes that it would establish a barrier for wetland intrusion and shade out poison ivy.
Okay. Joe?
So the only planting is the high bush blueberry?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
And again, that may be adequate, but they think that's gonna be effective in shading out poison ivy?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's, and in this area, is there any markers required, or should there be? In our
Okay.
opinion, or was that part of the EAO?
Should be,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Again, this is just an update at any rate, correct? Are we looking, this is an update, but we were looking to close it out tonight?
No,
All right.
no,
so
no,
I'm
no,
all
because
set
we
then,
still
long
have
as-
to,
Yeah.
we still have to inspect the
Well, you
delineation
have a
and,
recommendation.
Your recommendation.
You have a recommendation that's suggesting that a plan be submitted by September 14th with a May of 23 planting. Does that need to be implemented onto an enforcement order, or is that already on it?
I think we would amend the enforcement order
So
for
you want
that.
you want that language on the enforcement order
Yeah.
as an amendment?
Yeah,
That's what you want, okay, very good.
yeah. So, I mean, and again, we just received the Norse report, this, tonight.
That's okay,
So,
so this is
and I don't know if
perfect
it's adequate, in your opinion, or, so.
We'll find out.
Well, like you say, it's been difficult, you know that, because we have other people that have hard time getting plants and
Right.
getting any wetland scientists out there to look at stuff.
No, it has been difficult for people to engage, because
So-
they've been so busy.
But I'm gonna base it on your recommendations, so I think we should just go with the 14th and complete the plan by May 30th.
I agree, and I think it's attainable, given the fact that Norris is already on board.
Yeah.
You guys comfortable with
Yeah.
that?
Good with that.
No questions. I mean, other than maybe giving Maureen another kick at the can on that high bush blueberry selection.
Okay,
Well, the first thing you're asking for is a realistic deadline for the submittal of a restoration plan.
right.
What do you want for a date under the amended, we're gonna amend the enforcement order with the language of the
You're saying
recommendation.
September 14th
What-
is
what do
that
you
date?
want?
Well, I did, at that time, when I wrote this, I didn't have this in hand.
That's what I'm saying, now that this is,
Now
now
that- yeah.
that they're aboard, I think that's very
Okay,
realistic,
so-
September
so-
14th.
So
Okay.
I'll move that they submit a restoration plan by September 14th and with a completion date for planting of May 30th, 23.
Okay. Can I just ask a question? So this Norse letter, what more do you need for a restoration plan?
I mean, for me
Do
personally.
you, I mean,
like,
do you want,
That's your job.
I want a sketch.
I'm not
I don't
trying
want
to-
words, I
I'm not
want a
trying to be
sketch.
fresh,
you
but-
want a sketch?
Yeah, it doesn't,
That's, yeah.
whether it's necessary to have a
Alright.
survey, I guess
Got
I'll
it.
leave that up to you, but
Well, we
I
have
want
an
something
as-
more than
We have an
words.
as-built
Visual,
plan.
Yeah.
But
We
you-
have an as-built plan.
That's your area of expertise, I mean,
I mean, this particular property does have an as-built.
All right,
All right, okay.
so we need a motion.
so I made the motion to amend the enforcement order using the language presented.
Okay.
It needs a second.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Okay.
All right.
Next one is 242-575, 366 Candlestick Road.
All righty. Oops. All right. So the commission will recall issuing an enforcement order for tree clearing and stumping and disturbance in the 25 and the buffer zone. Commission required that the homeowner secure the services of a wetland consultant to delineate the wetland in the field and prepare a draft restoration planting plan for returning the impacted areas to a naturalized condition no later than Wednesday, the 13th. Homeowner has been diligent in making phone calls and provided us with a list of all of his activities since the last meeting in terms of trying to engage a consultant. They've been able to secure the services of Norse Environmental. She confirmed that she will be performing the delineation at some point very soon. What's that?
She did.
Oh, she already did. Okay, so she's delineated the wetlands. And so now we are waiting for a restoration plan. The question for the commission is, what form do you want that restoration plan to be? Do you want a surveyed plan, or a sketch, or what?
What's,
I don't remember
What was the
that.
extent of the violation? I don't remember.
what's the area? What's the area that we're talking about? Square footage of?
Removal of trees?
Yeah, there was, you're talking like square footage?
I know
or-
it was a lot of
Approximately, how
disturbance.
big an area? A quarter of an acre,
50
half
by
an acre?
20?
I would say, yeah, definitely not quarter of an acre.
So
Much
small.
smaller than that.
Small, okay, good.
You know, I
Yeah,
don't
I don't
know,
know.
a few hundred square feet.
Yeah, a few hundred square
some
feet, something like that.
Rough, that's a rough number.
A few hundred feet by what?
Few hundred square
You
feet,
say 200
Square
square
feet.
feet.
Oh,
which is-
200
which is
Few
hundred
very-
square
Which is very
feet.
small area.
Small,
roughly.
I remember this one.
okay.
This is the fountain of the trees extends. I remember this one.
So why don't we just leave it like you have here, you have the same recommendation?
Well, what kind of plan? I mean, do you want a sketch, or do
Yes.
you
You
want?
had photographs at the last meeting, so if what I remember, this is the one that had the fountain and the vernal pool.
Yes,
Yeah.
This also had some trees removed in the backyard.
Yes.
And there was some,
So this
there
one was a little more
Some
significant.
stumping.
Or,
A little
yeah.
more extensive.
This one was a little more significant. This may need, at the very minimum, a scale.
The very minimum
A sketch
sketch.
to scale
Yeah. Because you had
with an inventory of plants.
the vernal pool, but then he went
Uh-huh.
like to the left out, kind
The
of
vernal
out back.
pool was in the back of the
They
house,
went way
the
in the back.
wetland is in the front.
Right.
Disturbance
Our
was in the
SOP
front.
in the past has been restoration plans come in two parts. A narrative describing the species to be used, and a sketch showing where the species are gonna be planted. That's always been the SOP, that's never
Okay.
changed. I'm unwilling to amend how we do it.
Okay.
A narrative, tell me what you're gonna put there, how many, and show me on a sketch where they're going.
This one, it didn't.
And I'm a firm believer that money spent on the actual work, so long as
Is
it
more.
accomplishes what we want, is more productive than spending it on
a
survey.
Okay,
So if area photography is clear enough
Okay.
to show what was there, then they can make notations of what's been disturbed and what they're doing to propose to
all right,
fix it on an area photograph with sketches and notations on it. I'm fine with that.
okay, all right, okay.
Even a mortgage sketch plan would be sufficient if it showed the area as described in the inventory.
Yep,
Yeah, but didn't we ask, when they came before us, for a wetland scientist for a restoration plan?
yes, we did.
We did.
Yes, but I'm asking what
What is the
form,
plan?
what is the plan? What form does the restoration plan come in?
So what I just-
A surveyed plan, or a sketch plan, or
So it,
a GIS aerial with notations?
So the re-
That's what I'm asking.
so the requirement is dependent upon the size of the area.
Yeah,
For
okay.
example, when we had the tree cutting thing going on.
Yes.
And we were talking about an
Hollow
acre.
tree, yeah,
Well, that was
Yeah.
a registered plan. That was an RPLS
Yes.
or an
Yeah.
RPE plan.
okay,
Does
Okay.
this rise to that level? I don't know.
okay,
If
probably
it-
not.
If it does, you tell me. If it doesn't,
You know, fill, complicated topography, breaks in the land, things that you just need to see something,
Mm-hmm,
that, something like that would require a full survey.
we
Yeah.
gotta see everything that's out
yeah,
there. I mean, honestly.
Yep.
We have to see everything that's out there, and the inventory is something that you can,
okay.
check.
Well, considering the square footage of disturbance, probably, maybe not a full survey.
Well, it's more
But
than a couple
something more in
hundred.
the lines that you were
It's more
talking
than a
about,
couple
John.
hundred square feet, the pictures that I saw.
Yeah,
So
we said a
sound-
few hundred square feet. He said a few hundred square feet.
It sounds like it's a narrative including a planting list with a sketch to go with it, showing approximate locations of the species identified.
And even
Okay.
using aerial photo
Yes,
Yeah.
as part of the sketch.
Yep.
That's a sketch.
That's perfect.
okay,
But when they did this, they didn't know where the 25 and 50 was. Nobody did, because it was so disturbed, that nobody knew what it was. And that's why I thought we asked for a wetland scientist with a plan, with the setbacks, to restore it back to what it was. So, I mean, I don't know why we're pussyfoot around saying, okay, you don't have to do any of this stuff.
It's been
No, we're not
delineated,
saying
so
It's
if we ask for that, we should get it.
we should get it, and then a design plan. that the rest, and the areas that were disturbed,
So Lou wants more detail.
they should be restored.
So Lou wants more
I
detail.
mean, we just talked
So,
about being aggravated about all these enforcement.
Let me read the language of the enforcement order. Secure the services of a wetland consultant to delineate the wetland in the field and prepare a draft restoration planting plan for returning the impact areas to a naturalized condition.
Well,
That's the language that you guys,
So that's pretty clear to me. Who doesn't understand that? I mean, I'm not trying to be fresh.
No.
Who doesn't understand what you just read?
what form does the
What
plan?
is the plan?
What is the plan? What is the definition of the plan?
Well,
What format?
What it is that
What
we're telling you
format?
to retain a wetland scientist, so they prepare a plan to present to us.
Steve, Maureen's.
That's right, I
Maureen's
know.
boss thinks that this might be sufficient for a plan. That's what Amy's asking for clarification on. That is not sufficient for a plan.
Okay,
So,
all right.
But we're not talking about survey, your first order
Okay.
survey and, 1 foot
All right.
contour intervals.
Okay.
We're looking for something that's going to return the area, disturbed area, back to compliance
Yep.
in a way that anybody can
Look at,
do it themselves or hire it out.
got it.
That's what we want.
we've done 1,000 of these.
Yeah,
Okay,
and-
I'm not trying to make it difficult. I'm
No,
not
no,
getting a straight
No, I'm just
answer
saying,
out of you
We've done so
guys.
many of these, I just can't believe we're even talking about it.
No, I mean, we gotta try and be consistent, so we.
You're not
start
asking
wiggling
for a
this one,
full
we wiggle on that
instrument
one.
surveyed plan,
Not in this
correct?
particular case.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
They,
Thanks.
thank you.
Okay,
All right. Any other questions from the commission?
I guess I would just add, if any grading is needed, soil amendments, things like this. So the plants are definitely, have to be in the restoration plan, but, it looked like it was pretty torn up out there. Like, the tree removal, there were, I don't know if the root wads were still there, but it looked like it was pretty uneven topography that might need to be leveled out.
If we're concerned about that, we can require it come to us as an IDA.
Well, that
No.
would have to happen before the planting,
No,
right? If
no,
it
no,
had
no.
to be
Keep-
regraded.
Yeah, keep it under an enforcement order. And I think the area of stumping was up on the upper level, and you'd want it level anyway.
No.
I don't have any worries about grading or,
Yeah.
I mean.
And I think, to your point, though, that's where, the wetland scientist needs to provide the level of detail where we can say, okay, this restoration plan is gonna be successful, and that's not necessarily just plants. It could be, you know what I mean, minor regrading here. And it doesn't have to be that, like you were saying, we don't need a 1 foot contour survey, but in the narrative, does grading need to occur? To what level? What's
And
it-
in this area.
Right, like just describe what needs to happen, right? The plants, all that stuff, so, but yeah, the wetland scientist should
I
be
think
doing that.
they should have a wetland scientist that's gonna design the restoration plan for this project.
Yep.
I don't think the homeowner should do it, I don't think our staff should do it.
Nope. No, they've got, the wetlands delineated, and Maureen is gonna prepare something from Norse Environmental. I just
if
need
we're
to answer
concerned-
that question
if we're
about the
concerned
plan
that-
format.
That there's a lack of understanding of what we really need, then we can give a very detailed
Okay,
answer.
okay.
I mean,
I think I can now,
Okay.
based on this discussion. So we need to amend the enforcement order to incorporate those new dates.
The ones you suggest, recommended,
September 14th,
that's the same as the last
restoration
one.
plan, and completion deadline of May 30th.
I think it's the same as the
It's the
prior
same
one
as
we
the
just
other one,
discussed.
yeah.
I think it's doable. If
Yeah.
Norse is already on board, they're well on the way to giving us what we need.
All right, need a motion, so, to those dates.
Does the applicant want to speak?
Yeah, did you want to say anything?
Nope, she came out, she did the delineation, so we'll work with her and figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we amend the enforcement order to include a deadline for the restoration plan of September 14, 2022, and a completed planting deadline of May 30th, 2023.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one is 242-1581, 1055 Salem Street.
Alrighty. So the commission will recall issuing an enforcement order requiring that the applicant secure the services of a wetland consultant to review the areas of disturbance within the BVW and the buffer zone, no later than Wednesday, July 13th. And that is, we didn't ask for a delineation, we just simply asked that they engage a consultant and that the consultant would have been already on board, on site to review the area.
Okay.
And obviously, the wetland consultant to develop a restoration plan, a draft restoration plan.
Where is this from?
So,
This was just handed out.
Yeah, I just,
This was just handed out.
so,
I apologize. I
That's okay.
got a phone call from Ivania on the 6th of July, Sergio Bernier from Mission Wetlands out of Portsmouth. I got a phone call from Ivania on the 6th, couldn't make it out till last night. So last night I did my assessment, and I put together a draft to try to stay in compliance with
Okay.
your directive. At this point, I'd be here to take comment and to formulate a final plan, but I put together some items that might be, hopefully, definitely are palatable to bringing that area. There's a small area of the BBW where there's been some movement of some of the sandier coarse sand material that was in the 25-foot no disturbance zone. So the idea I had, I did some soil plugs and found mostly found virgin soil, topsoil, but there were areas where there had been some sand that was pushed around as Taylor had noted. So my idea would be to scarify it back, that small section of the BBW area, rather than go in with any kind of sort of backblade or anything to try to maintain that seed bank. Because if you've been out there, well, you've been out there, Taylor, there's a good seed bank out there. So we try to minimize scarification of the BBW area and scarify the 25-foot no disturbance zone where we don't have much vegetation to promote a growing medium. And then, and basically what I've done in the past, I know that you didn't like the stumps in the 25-foot no disturbance area. They're large, they're big stumps, but typically I sort of try to prescribe those sort of habitat structure components into buffer areas, but that's fine if you want them removed. The brush pile, another thing I typically prescribe, but I understand it's one pile. That can be removed, and Jose can restore the fence, the stone wall there. But there's, grass clippings, you'll see that's just a draft breakdown of what I came up with last night. Came up with that last night, so that's why you're not seeing it until this morning. And he was kind enough Taylor was kind enough to get me the order, which I couldn't find last night. I was kind of in a tailspin trying to find the order, but he supplied that this morning as well as long as the as-built. So what I suggest is using the as-built. It's a plan of record. It's on the order, and I have a PDF software program where I can just dump in plot on notations for different plants. And I came up with sort of and we're open to suggestions here, but I've had pretty good success for riverfront restoration areas and buffer zone plantings with serviceberry, maple leaf viburnum, and gray dogwood, because they sort of flower at different times and they fruit at different times, and they're showy, they're aesthetic, they have wildlife habitat value, and they have nesting cover, and any sort of thing like any kind of capacity for that wildlife provision. And obviously a wetland seed mix where we have where we scarify out any of the wetland, any of the coarse sands. Obviously a lot of herbaceous vegetation associated with the wetland seed mix, and plenty in a New England conservation wildlife seed mix. So, I think the result will be a better buffer zone to complement the BBW, and the Rodriguez family just like to keep it, bring it back to better than it was before. There was one area where you had suggested you saw sand fill, but Jose is,
acknowledges he moved the material around. Obviously, that there's the dozer is right there, so that's another thing that will be removed. And I took the sharpshooter last night, and these guys said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I just want to see how deep this is." But 27, 28 inches. Without refusal, of just pure, coarse sand. So I don't know if that material was just let's lose that material over the stone wall when they constructed. Who knows? I'm not, but nonetheless, it's pretty sandy back there. So I think the scarification, the conservation seed mix, the wetland seed mix, that all combined with some straw for moisture retention should help that come back to normal very quickly. I suggested to them that we don't implement the plantings until the fall because, as you know, it's been a crazy drought. So I think we would just be setting ourselves up for failure if we did any plantings in August by any means. But I can come back and hopefully have something, obviously solicit your feedback and take your comments and come back with a final restoration plan in narrative form. These are the same questions I had with them, the ones you brought up before, narrative form. And also I'll take, like I said, I'll take the as-built and I'll just mark that up, put that up, and you'll have on the rear, I'll finalize the planting schedule. And 15-foot centers is pretty good because there's a good seed bank out there. But if we put some plants on 15-foot centers just to the southeast of that large oak tree, because he didn't really go anywhere near to the north of that. And you can see it's very well vegetated from an herbaceous standpoint. But there's a great seed bank out there, so we don't want to scarify anywhere we don't have to. There's blue vervain, there's boneset, there's broom sedge, there's soft rush, a lot of nice plants out there for the lepidopterans, for the butterflies, for the bees. And I think the result will be a good food chain dynamic back there. He'll restore the stone wall. I think there was just a little bit of, education needed to be had. Bought the house in 2019, so I'm sure that they're not going through the order to see what are the ongoing conditions. That kind of stuff comes up in due diligence here and there. So I think it was just a misunderstanding. They want to do the right thing, the Rodriguez family. So I got involved, and hopefully you guys are pleased with what the draft is, and I can just expound upon that and give you something final by the next meeting.
Okay. Joe, you have any questions, directions?
Just a comment. So thank you.
Absolutely.
For a real broad brush, quick approach, you're
Yeah.
pretty detailed.
The funny thing,
that
I'm
to the
sorry.
plan is an important thing. Make sure that the plant selection, spacing, and all that is supported by our staff. And
Yeah,
that we understand
absolutely.
that through the process. Keep talking to them.
Yep.
The question of what was sandy and where the sand came from and to what depth. I guess we should be able to look at older permits and soil intrinsics that may be in the files. We could certainly look around the perimeter and take out the transects, adjacent to it, and because I think whether that sand stays there or not, whether it was in situ to begin with.
I think
we
it
need
was.
to know. We need to know that.
Yeah.
I think there's enough topography. There's enough as the proposed plans for that plot, the as-built for that plot. It's going to probably have some information in there, especially the old file might even have some of the transects that. Unless it was an obvious wetland. That's going to help us understand to what extent we need to restore topography and to what extent, we need to select the right plants to go into that topography and that right soil. I found myself in a bit of disadvantage, but the applicant and his family, we did a great job trying to convey what was important to us to the applicant, but you're able to convey that communication line pretty clearly.
Yeah, the funny thing was, I'm sure they saw my last name, and they're like, "Oh, this guy will be easy. We can translate everything we have." And I'm like, my father passed away in 2010, Colombian native. I'm like, so use it or lose it. I don't have what I used to have, but I just can't. I think I told you, I just can't conjugate my verbs.
Is the family did a pretty decent job
Yeah,
trying to explain
yeah.
the importance.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that understanding carries through the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then beyond.
Yeah. I spoke to them. I'll carry them through it, the implementation, help out their contractor, whoever they choose to do that, if it's not Jose himself, because obviously he's got the machine. So,
And I'm all set. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, this is a good template.
I know.
So when you ask us, what do we want?
Yep.
I want this.
Yeah.
Okay,
And this put on a plan.
This is what I
An
want.
as-built,
Got it.
an old
So-
as-bilt's
Yeah.
great.
So I don't want the
I
other
got you.
wetland person plagiarizing, however, this is what I want.
No, I know.
This is
I know what you-
beautiful.
Yes.
Tells you exactly what you're looking for. It's got the sketch, got everything.
Yeah.
I love it, I'm all set.
Thank you.
Yep.
This part about the sand, Joe?
Yeah.
That was the Killer Bees land, right?
Plenty of bees out there.
No,
Killer bees?
There was a
Back
guy
in the,
that-
back in the day, there was, they used to sell lumber on the corner.
So that, you're talking on the corner of Salem Street where.
Like Boxon.
Where you go left on Foster.
Foster.
Straight on
Right on the
Boxford,
corner.
right on
Those
Salem.
two houses right on the
That
corner.
was
That was
Killer
Killer
Bees.
That was Killer
That was
Bees.
Killer Bees.
That is
So-
a sandy vein in there.
That is.
Wasn't there a sandy? I think there, where that hill comes down and
That
went out
was-
to the,
And that,
So
to
that
the
was-
flat plain, that was
so
pretty
that-
sandy in
That
there.
was originally the Bodge property.
That was the
Royce
Bodge.
Bodge. And,
It's a railroad siding that runs right.
that-
The other side of the
back
street.
side.
That's
The other
now,
side.
that's now a walking trail, you're right, there was a trestle behind it, where there's now a resource area.
So believe it or not, I think that's it.
Yeah,
It is,
right down the road.
I know the spot.
I think it is too. There was a vein of sand in there.
So I wouldn't go crazy, change, that was there.
The sand.
It seemed like it. It was real deep. That's the first thing I did, is I'm gonna get the sharpshooter for this
And
one.
behind it was peat bog.
Yeah.
Because at one time, the town wanted to buy to put a fire station in there,
Yeah,
and it couldn't pass,
It
soil.
it didn't pass the test dig.
yeah.
The town dug down, or tried to dig down 20 feet.
And all they were hitting was peat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hit so much peat, it was clear that somebody tried to fill the peat bog in to make it useful land, except there was no stopping, there's no bottom to it.
We found that out at the Sanborn School in Kingston, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
A couple of feet down, nothing
So
but
that's
peat.
it, it's been probably at least 30 years.
Yeah.
More than that.
More money,
Oh, yeah.
It's 60 years.
Oh, we've been sitting at 30 years.
Yeah, we've been
Yeah, I forgot we're getting old.
Wait,
Damn close to it.
All right, well, that was an excellent presentation. I think you're facing the right track. Jack?
I agree, Your Honor, I track, no questions
Right.
from me.
Just one question, the depleted matrix, how far down was that? Was it like a?
I had it depleted where you have, like I said, in the BVW area, there was, on the southeasterly edge, there was some, you can tell there'd been some coarse sand pushed around, maybe an inch until virgin soil, and I had depleted matrix anywhere from 6 to 8.
Oh, okay.
And pretty,
Yeah.
distinct models.
That checks the box.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's hydric, yeah.
Yeah,
That's all I-
that's the first thing I did, like, are we gonna have to do any grading? If so, how much? Because we wanna make sure
Right.
we get that.
And this is why I was bringing up the grading
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
'Cause, right, you're
absolutely.
saying to just scarify it as opposed
Sure,
to
yeah,
grading,
no.
so you wanna know which,
You have to capture the water table if you want the
Exactly.
plants to really take.
Yep. that's all I have.
So I guess continue to the 27th, to give Mr. Bonilla just a chance to, put the finishing touches on this
Yeah.
plan, and then we can amend the enforcement order at that time for a schedule.
Oh, your deadline for removal of fill, I don't think we have.
Well,
We need that.
maybe, that's maybe something we need to amend as well, so.
I can make some recommendations in the restoration
Yeah,
plan.
about,
And if we come back next week, we can maybe just dot some i's,
Yeah,
cross some
that
t's,
would be
because we
good.
definitely, what we don't want to do is any planting now.
Yeah.
But I understand if you'd really like some of the sand to be raked back.
yeah.
I think the
mo-
removal
most-
statement's
most-
accurate, because what we've been discussing is it's probably not filled, so
Right.
therefore it doesn't need to be removed.
Okay.
So leaving that deadline in this.
No, he didn't place anything, he just moved some stuff
Gotcha.
around. And I think agitating the big, large stumps didn't help either.
Yeah.
Agitating some of that.
Yeah, moving
And to that end, someone said there was a dead shrub that was placed in the wetland. He'll remove that. I think it's a gray birch, because the neighbor right next door, the neighboring plant right next door is a gray birch, and it sure looked like a gray birch. He said it died, and he just
Yeah.
put it,
Yeah, I don't
took
think,
care of
I
it.
don't think there's gonna be any fill to be removed.
I don't think so either.
I would say it's more of any debris that's there.
Scarify, a growing medium, and let it go, let nature take
There you
over,
go. I
Mother
wouldn't
Nature.
even, don't change the grades, it'll
Yeah, be
fill.
Not
it.
necessary.
Be careful how far down you go, because you might not like what you find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't-
Yeah.
I
So,
would- like I said, I
just
would- I wouldn't grade it at all.
suspend the requirement of removing fill,
No, take that out of there.
Well,
or just not
Huh?
enforce it. at this point.
Let them come to us with
Yes.
their solution
Yes,
on it.
okay. All right, so we'll just continue the 27th.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Thank you for your
All
time.
right, thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for coming in.
Next one is 17 Hepatica Drive.
Patica.
Hepatica.
Where is that?
It is?
It's a plant.
I thought it was Attica.
It's not a city. It's not a person, place, or a thing.
Not a prison.
I thought it had something to do with dealing with the kidneys. Hepatic?
It's over near Farnham's.
Where is it?
Over near Farnham's,
All right.
the
No,
Boston Hill.
Yes.
They were trying to figure out what a hepatica is.
Oh. So this should be an easy one.
Have a good night. We just-
Yes,
Can
this
you
should
make
be
it
an
easy?
easy one.
I can.
Yes.
There's
Yep.
So the,
Not gonna make it.
for the record, Greg Hawkworth from Williams and Sparagus. The Rogerses are in New Jersey. They couldn't be here tonight, so they asked us to come. They wanted to expand their patio, and the problem is the expansion would be in the no disturb zone. So clearly they started, they got wind that they shouldn't be doing this, so they stopped. They got the enforcement order, and they don't want to push the envelope. They just want to put what was there back. And there's a small little retaining wall too. You can see in the photo where there's just earth. They have to put that back. The good news is we have a good as-built that shows both the patio and the retaining wall. So we have the dimensions, we have the location, and they simply want to put it back, clean it up, loam and seed around it, and just return it to what it was. We explained that a waiver would be highly unlikely in this situation, and they didn't want to try.
How far would they plan on going?
I do have some photos that show a yellow string that they put on the ground. It looks like it's probably at least 4 times the size of what was there.
Yeah, it's-
Want to increase it 4 times?
what this is.
Yeah, and the problem is the wetland didn't get any better. If anything, it got a little closer
Yeah,
to
so
the
this-
units.
I don't know if you can
So
see it, but-
the prior patio was pretty close to the no disturb zone to begin with. Yeah, you can see the yellow string in that
Yeah.
photo.
Sounds like an RDA.
What is it now?
It's
It's an
enforcement.
enforcement order. So work up plans to make an
Would you live with an
RDA.
RDA on this one, Amy?
Returning it to the original
Yeah.
footprint? Yep. Actually, if they had come before us, before they did anything, and wanted to just replace in kind,
Right.
I think a small project permit would have
Might have been.
be sufficient because it's under 300 square feet. But at this point, maybe an RDA is more appropriate.
Well, I think that. Just to restore it?
Just to replace it, to upgrade it in the same footprint.
So erosion controls are in place now,
Okay.
so there's no threat to the wetlands.
What did you have in mind?
Well, it'd be great to do it under an enforcement order. That would be the easiest
Or
path for them.
I mean,
But this is a violation, and they understand that, and it's
Oh,
up to the commission.
it's up to you.
why couldn't we, I'm just asking, why couldn't we do it under the restoration, whatever, restoring it?
I'm looking at the history of how this happened. The neighbor talked to the homeowner and said, hey, look, I think you got an issue. The homeowner came to us.
Yes, we do.
It's not like we came out gunning for them.
Yeah.
Everybody's off, in
They-
pretty good
they-
faith
Yeah, no,
there.
They had
Really
no
good
idea.
He
faith.
really
I think an AO
was
is
very,
appropriate.
very straightforward with us.
I agree
yes.
with Joe.
Yep.
EO's appropriate.
EO for any kind of replacement.
Sure.
Comfortable with that?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
All right, so you need to make a motion to issue an enforcement order
Allowing for
Allowing
an
for
in-kind
in-kind
replacement and
and cleaning up and
clean it up and make it,
restoration.
put a
Yeah.
bow around it, and say
And,
goodbye.
Do we want a deadline?
Who?
A deadline?
Well,
I know they're anxious to get it done
I
as
would
soon
say
as,
when I-
as soon as they
I'll
can
get
start
another-
working again.
Give them a month? Think a month?
If, I think that's fair, and if for whatever reason, they need a little bit more time due to materials or whatever it is, we could have them request an extension.
Were they doing the work themselves, or did they have a contractor?
I don't know.
I think it was a
I think it was a
contractor.
contractor.
Yeah.
They're already on board, they want, the contractor already wants to get it done. I'd say let's be reasonable, give them to October 1st, then it'd be done
Say the same
complete.
thing.
All right.
When's the first meeting in
The
October?
fact that it's at their back door, they probably want it done faster than that.
12. 12.
Give them the time they need and they'll get it done quick.
Okay, so enforcement order to
To
have
restore.
restore in-kind footprint, and with a deadline of October 1st.
On or before.
On or before.
Okay,
So moved.
October 1st or 12th? First, okay.
And then we'll put it on the 12th.
we got a motion, we need
Second?
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one is 49 Court Street.
Hi. Sorry. I'm Leah. You go. Don't have a good presentation.
Have, just have a seat.
That by
and
Greg.
Sorry.
We'll try to help.
So, oh, am I not supposed to?
Hold on one second.
No.
Hold on one second.
Alrighty, so, on May 27th, the staff issued a tree removal letter allowing the homeowners to remove 8 hazardous trees that were in the buffer zone. Staff did alert them that any other work on the property would require review and approval and permitting with the Conservation Commission. On June 21st, staff was made aware that violations consisting of unauthorized importation of fill and stone, use of equipment resulting in ground disturbance, and tree removals and pruning beyond what was approved in our tree removal letter. Based on our field inspector's site inspection, most of the violations appear to have occurred within the 50-foot no-build zone and perhaps right up to the 25-foot no-disturb zone, to the BBW that's associated with an intermittent stream. That same day, we ordered that work cease and erosion controls to be installed. They have been installed, and as far as I know, no other work has gone on.
No.
Is that correct? Okay, all right. So, the enforcement order, or enforcement letter, required that they attend the meeting tonight, and get further directives from the commission. Staff thinks perhaps a wetland delineation is in order, because I think they have other plans for the property, and some plans might be approvable under an appropriate application and permit process. And if there's any impacts that occurred in '25, then restoration should be submitted. And then, you know, I don't really understand what the fill is for, so maybe we can have a conversation and figure out, does it all go, or can it stay for an, you know, an anticipated project that would need fill? I don't know, so.
I think we should just take you out and shoot you.
I think you should take me out and shoot me too. I give you guys so much credit for doing this. And first of all, Mr. Lynch, what you said before, I didn't even know I lived on conservation land until somebody came and said, I'm calling conservation. So I give you guys a lot of credit for what you do, and I apologize that I didn't realize. So,
You just took the wind out of my sails.
well, I didn't, I honestly though,
I'm ready to
I
go
mean,
around
I
the
have
world
some
with that
respect
one.
for it. Now I've paid attention to it. I drive down Academy, I see what the guys are doing. I pay attention to things now. So pretty much, we had these trees. I thought I was doing a great job in between patients today, printing out pictures of my car getting hit with trees. But we've had trees on the side of the driveway and branches in the back that have fallen down over the last 10 years, and more or less for the last 10 years. I've been a single mom with 2 kids, and I haven't been able to do much maintenance to the house. Finally, we were able to kind of see that we could take down some of the trees along the driveway that Taylor had come and looked at. Some of them were certainly dead and leaning. Some of the branches in the back had just, they would fall down during wind branches. I've called the electric company a million times. They just fall. So what we wanted to do, pretty much, as we had talked to you about, at some point, make a plan for a patio. But what we just wanted more than anything was to get rid of some of these limbs and to get rid of some of the branches that were falling down in the backyard, coupled with the fact that they go up to the roof and we have a nice family of squirrels in the attic. So just wanted to get rid of that. When the tree company came in, our driveway is, Taylor, I think, had seen it, it's extremely narrow. You really can't get into the backyard to get the truck in there that you needed to get in there, and the guys needed to get there to get down the trees. We just wanted to make the land flat. I think long-term, obviously, I jumped the gun. We wanted a flat backyard for our kids. They're 7 and 9 now. They play sports. Just wanted some flat land. So that was my fault, and I'm totally willing to remedy the situation. I'm going to let Jimmy talk now because I'm really good at this.
Give us a chance.
Give us a chance.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a nervous wreck. I've been sitting thinking
So
about
pump the
this.
brakes and let us go through it, and we're
Okay.
going to try to help you out.
Okay, thanks.
All right, let us do it.
Sorry.
All right, thanks.
So the wind that came out of my sails was this, is that I'm frustrated when young, ambitious people are trying to do nothing but the best things, but clearly don't have an understanding. But I'm more frustrated by the fact that we gave you guidance with the trees, and from what our staff tells us is, told you don't. You got an issue out here, and don't do anything else. So it was preventable on your part to not let that happen. It was every bit as preventable with any reputable contractor doing this type of work, seeing what he sees, to come in and say, yeah, I'm not coming in here because I shouldn't be without proper permits. It's a contract. I don't know if you're doing it yourself or if you have someone coming in. But they should have been able to prevent that. But nonetheless, we've got a pretty significant area. I remember, I was going to say not long ago, but son of a gun, it might be 15 to 20 years ago, neighboring property, Pasture comes, I'm not sure how close it is.
Yes, 2
Next
houses
door,
down.
Couple houses down.
2 houses down.
Working with his dad, who God love him, was still alive at the time, was trying to get an in-law ability to let him stay at home as long as he can while he was dying. And we worked with them very, very closely to get that embankment near the brook done in a very, very methodical way, and knowing this terrain out here pretty clearly is a major thing to get to have happen and done right. What you have out here now is a mess, because it's your backyard. That we say cease and desist means stop, but doesn't make it stable. Something's got to be done to one, at the very least, make it stable for what may take a longer period of time to get fixed. And more importantly is if there are actual impacts that, at a very great cost, take it out and fix it. And that's what really discourages me, because I hate to sound harsh to a young couple who's trying to enjoy their yard, but the reality is this is going to be a long, drawn-out, costly undertaking that I don't think we have any way around navigating. It's tough. I don't know if there are plans. There need to be. Looking at the fill, looking at the excavator on the fill, knowing not only is it wetland, I'm not sure how close the brook gets to you, but
The brook doesn't.
it doesn't come back, get close until it gets to Castor.
Just want to make one comment on the fill part.
Yeah.
Because of the slope, I happen to own a few pieces of excavation equipment. Because of the slope and the proximity, we brought in like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of stone, because we knew that the stone would be a self-leveling issue for the trucks that go down with their downriggers, because we had a very dangerous widowmaker tree that was leaning up against a healthy tree, and the healthy tree was coming down. In order for them to do it, had one truck in forward and one truck backwards, so the crane could hold it. But anyway, the reason we brought in stone for the reason for erosion, to not bring in soils to erode.
So my point is that, like we mentioned earlier today, there are levels where sketches might be good, where photography might be good. There are things that involve grading, which those things aren't adequate. This is that. I hate to say it. This is pretty.
It was installed for safety
significant
for the trucks.
And I apologize. It's going to take some getting. I mean, in the long run, it may be everything comes out, and the area gets restored to what it used to be. And if you've got other plans to do things in your backyard, through a separate process called the notice of intent. This might still be a notice of intent to restore it, by the way. If there anything else you're proposing doing in the yard, that's the time to ask for it. Because it's the same permitting process, but, and until we know more of what was there and what the impact is, other than the visuals we're seeing, I think just being as severe as broadening that statement is all I can do. It's one of the worst I've seen. Sorry. I'm done.
Tell you as
So, I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm gonna tell you what I think you should do, and you can listen to me or not. I think you need to hire a wetland scientist and do a wetland delineation on your property. Do a flag line and figure out exactly where the wetland is, soil core samples, the whole thing. And then you have to decide what's your goal there. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to just level the yard? Are you thinking about putting an addition? Are you thinking, whatever you're thinking, whatever's in your head, you've got to spell that out. And then that'll decide what you have to do going forward, whether you have to file a notice of intent, or whether you have to file an RDA. It's going to have to be some type of vehicle like that to help you fix it up. I think you can fix it. I think it's going to be some work, but I think you can fix it. But you gotta get somebody on board first to give you a delineation so we know where your limits of work are.
Okay.
Without the delineation, we can't tell you how far you can go.
Okay.
And with the delineation, you'd come back in front of us with a plan that would be prepared by a registered professional engineer that would be conveying what your thoughts are. If you say to the engineer, this is what I want to do. I want to do this, I want to do this, and you spell it out and you come back to us.
Okay.
And then we do the findings of fact on it, and we give you an order of conditions, and you go forward and you fix it.
Okay.
But that's the way I would do it. That's what I would honestly recommend.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend doing anything without getting a scientist on board first to do a delineation and find the wetland. That's job one.
And that gentleman, we just got his card. He's a wetland scientist,
Yep.
right?
I don't know which gentleman
He
you
is.
spoke to.
The gentleman that did the nice presentation before.
Oh, the guy?
Yes,
Okay.
that guy with the great presentation.
He would be perfect.
Okay.
All right, and just check his qualifications. Do your diligence.
He's never appeared before us. But
No, Tony has worked with him. He's excellent.
Yeah, exactly. We were pleased.
It's nice,
So
yeah.
do your diligence,
Okay.
okay? Ask him for a price. Tell him what you want to do. I think I love the work he did. That's why I said it. That's what I'm looking for in a restoration plan.
Okay.
Great detail and a lot of thought,
Okay.
a lot of thought process. So, but do it. Get them on board. Get the delineation. Get it flagged. Now you know. Okay, I cannot go past that point. Now you can design whatever it is you want to design.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
It's just one question, as far as that's concerned, is there anything that we can do now to stop, to make?
Right now you can't do anything.
Just
Okay.
as
No,
far as
no.
stabilizing it with some rice.
I think
angles,
if you need to stabilize something back there, are they unstable?
We use
It's a
rock.
lot of stone.
I
But
think it was less
stone is not
stabilized.
necessarily unstable. We're talking, when I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I think the way it is right now, I don't think there's much,
Are they in danger of soil?
they're not in danger, no.
Okay.
And the last thing I want them to do is import soil to seed
Yeah,
and then
so-
turn it into a lawn and then we never see them again.
So
So
do nothing.
that's not how I want it to go.
But hire
Yeah.
and get the delineation done, and then decide what's our scope of work here. Are we gonna put on an addition? Are we gonna just put a patio? What do we wanna do? Get that all designed and come back.
And then come back to
We'll
you
tell you how to
guys.
do it. That's really the only and the best way to do it.
No, we appreciate that.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
guys
All right.
very much. I appreciate your time.
We're gonna go down the table here. We're not done yet.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we're not done.
You gotta listen to everybody on the table.
That
Fair
was
enough.
just one person
Fair
telling you his opinion. It
Okay.
doesn't mean that's what's going to
exactly- no,
transpire.
that's exactly right.
Okay?
That was, I was just giving you my
Yeah.
recommendation.
Okay.
I'm not speaking for the commission.
Okay.
You definitely did a good job. I talked to you, I forget your name, I'm sorry.
Jimmy.
Tim?
Jim.
Jim. I spoke briefly with him about it. Even though we say it is stable, it's not stable, there's rocks going into the butters yard and stuff like that, last time I knew, right?
We took those out.
Some of the stuff was rolling off the hill.
Steep it is, yeah.
The lot, like, right where that is, that picture that's showing right now, I don't know if you can see it. I mean, that's, you gotta stabilize the wetlands, so I mean, you gotta get the wetland science in there to get where the 25 is, then you gotta pull everything back. What, you know, myself, I know you said you wanted a flat for your kids to play, and you mentioned the wall. You know, myself, I know I'm not supposed to design projects, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Go to the 25, pull it all back, and then go from the 25 to the 50, like a 3-to-1 slope, and then build your wall.
That puts you in the back of the house, actually, that
In
puts
the
you right
back
in
of
the
the
back
house,
of the.
and then that would be your backyard. You can put your wall in. So now everything's out of the 50. The walls can be put in the 50. Then you stabilize that slope, keep everything out of the 25, and anything you did in the 25, you can replicate it.
They don't know where those are.
Is this buffer zone fill only, or do we know where the line is? Do you know?
Taylor?
You know, because
I would say it's right up against.
So that's the
So we use phrases like
wetlands.
25 and 50, I'm not
Yeah.
sure that the average person understands that.
Yeah.
So if the toe of the fill is at the line,
Yep.
Yeah.
well, first 25 feet from that line means no
Nothing.
disturbance. So that all has to come out.
right, and
And
then
then,
from there
and
go
then up to
three.
the 50 is where a structure can go, a wall.
So go like 3-to-1.
So that'd be another
From the
another 25.
go 3-to-1.
Doesn't leave
And
much
then
of a
put-
backyard.
No, it goes right up to the back door,
Doesn't
really.
leave
Well,
much
does.
of a
the other
backyard.
alternative is to take it all out, go back to square one.
That's what that's, until we know where that line is, this is all an academic question.
You got it, you
Okay.
got it.
We kept it to the fence line. I don't know if you noticed a fence in the picture, but there was a fence. It was more for the trucks to be level when they go to.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, the situation you're in, but
I agree with Al, until we know where the line
Yeah.
is.
It's
Why
very,
get where he's,
this is
just
very
get the
solvable.
line
I wouldn't-
established.
I wouldn't think of anything other than determining the wetland line first.
Okay,
Because the wetland line tells you your setbacks.
right.
If you don't know that, you don't know your setbacks, we could talk about this all night long, it doesn't mean anything.
True.
We'll talk about nothing.
well, this stuff has to be done sooner than later, because like I said, that is gonna erode, it's gonna slide.
It's eventually gonna rain, probably in this September, so, you know, we should be thinking along those lines that when the wet weather comes.
So it's only gonna get worse before it's gonna get better. I'm sure you'd like your yard back.
My kids certainly would like their yard back.
They never had it yet.
I mean, if
so-
they're playing Army, it's good, but.
They only have so much fun until they start falling down, then it's not so much fun.
The ball's
So
going
definitely
down the-
sooner
the
rather
hill.
than
No,
later.
you know, we'll help you, we can try and help, because it's unfortunate, but,
Thank you.
We can help you get the wetland scientist.
We'll take care of it, thank you.
but shame on you, you're a contractor.
Well, I'm a developer. I might do my own developing. I have my own iron, yeah, but I don't like.
Well, if you were a developer, you did this
It was,
on
it
your
was, it was,
property.
it was, to be honest with you, it was a function of the contractor coming, saying that they couldn't do it, and understanding that they wouldn't be able to come in another few more weeks or months. So it was like the timing and the thought and everything just happened
So
fast.
you end up buying this fill?
Yeah.
The stone, yeah. I brought in all imported fill from Bentley Warren.
From Bentley Warren.
You might be able to sell
That's a lot of money to spend on tree removal.
Yes. it was.
Without really saying,
was.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring it in and do something with it. It's
I
not
mean,
just
back
for the
when
crane. It
back in
was
the old days, they used
to alter the
steeple,
backyard to
you know,
make it more usable.
With pulleys
So-
and tree climbers.
All right.
Not
So
everybody had a
Do we want
200-foot
to, do we
crane.
want to move on? Just-
sorry,
These
yeah.
guys want to
Yeah,
have,
We sure do.
yeah, I was
We
gonna
sure do.
bring up the subject of
My man.
stability of what's out there now, and these guys have kind of covered it a little bit. It is comforting that stone tends to not move too well with erosion, but eventually it will, so we're on the clock, and I think it will get worse before it gets better. One thing that the guys didn't cover yet was, you know, there's a lot of, it looks like there's a lot of fill out there. All I've seen is the photos, but, you know, there's a chance with that much fill that you could be changing the drainage patterns in the neighborhood.
The drainage pattern in Oh, sorry.
Well, we don't know what the drain, I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's important to recognize when you do a project like this, you know, within the 100-foot, you know, conservation setback, these are issues that are considered very seriously. You know, because the last thing we want to do is approve a project that then diverts water that normally would have percolated into the ground on your property, dump that onto someone else's property. Okay, so there's a lot to this, and I don't want you to think that there isn't. So anyway, yeah, start with, as Al recommended, start with the finding out where the line is. You know, get a set of plans that you think that's going to work for you. Decide what's going to work, and you know, understand that there's a lot going on here, and you're going to have to comply with it, and hopefully you get something that you're happy with. So that's all I have.
All right.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously, I agree we need to get the delineation done so we can figure out where the setbacks are. Once we have that information, I think we should think about what could have been permitted, right? If it wasn't actually a violation, like what would we have allowed, right? So, I'm not, you know, I don't speak for the commission, but I'm not sure how you guys feel about a retaining wall in the back as opposed to a 3-to-1 slope that would give them more space for a flat backyard, or even like a stepped retaining wall of some sort. I guess that depends on whether or not it's within the 50, and if the retaining wall is considered a structure, and if they get a
Well,
variance.
4 feet is not a structure, so that could be up to
Well,
25.
a 4-foot or more
Well,
will need a
whatever the
building
building
permit.
inspector requires, I think 4 foot's
It's
the
4
threshold.
foot or more,
Yeah.
needs a building permit.
Base of the floor patch, when the height of the.
So that's a
floor
structure,
patch.
so anything less than 4 feet is not a structure, he doesn't have to get a building permit, so.
And it does
we
include the
rule that
footing.
structure is that
And it
definition.
includes the footing too.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think of ways we, like, sort of everybody gets what they want out of this. But again, that's gonna depend on where the wetland line is, so that's step one.
You keep saying wetland line, but there's also riverfront out there. Is that perennial or is that intermittent?
Intermittent.
Intermittent.
So it's not mapped, it's not named?
No, it's absolutely not.
Yeah, that's right.
It's absolutely
Yeah,
not.
It only flows when it rains.
In fact, it's been flowing out onto Osgood Street for 75 years, down at 5 Corners. It gets down to 5 Corners, and it becomes up onto the street, and it goes all the way down to Boston.
Yeah,
Brook,
so it's not riverfront?
No.
Strict, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if we collaborate, we can figure out something that could potentially work for everybody.
Well, they gotta tell us what they want first, and
Yeah.
they can't know that until they figure out where the setbacks are.
Absolutely.
No, so that's what you gotta do.
Okay.
You gotta brainstorm, you gotta get the setbacks figured out, and then you gotta brainstorm what you actually wanna do.
And then we
And
can
then-
get in touch with Taylor, we
Well,
can come
get in
back to
touch
meet
with
you
the
guys,
office.
Taylor and
We
Amy.
just want a
You're gonna
fence
have
and a
to file-
patio.
you're
We
either
want a
have to
fence and a
file
patio, that's it.
You're gonna have to file either a notice of intent or an RDA, depending upon what you wanna do.
Once we get the
Setback.
scientist
You
out
gotta get the
there.
setbacks first.
Okay, all right, so
You
we'll
gotta
do
know
that,
that.
and then we'll be in touch with you guys.
So
we're
anyway,
gonna be
we'll
like
get
best friends in the meeting.
recommendations, and I'm seeing dates which seem to make sense, but they do kick us right into the wetter fall season, so.
Yeah.
Knowing that, and again, that shouldn't drive these deadlines. What it should do is drive any need for fortifying the erosion.
Yeah,
controls.
right,
So, yeah.
that's right.
What's done out there now has been done on an emergency basis.
An emergency basis.
But is it adequate to get us through
Oh,
an
well,
extended period of time?
No, I wouldn't,
I mean,
I wouldn't say that.
There's nothing gonna move the stone.
No, but there's, I think based
unless
on that,
it's a
the
freak
Stone's gonna
earthquake.
say, Stone's gonna say put, it's all the fine's gonna wash through.
Yeah, yeah.
In a heavy rain.
Right.
That's
So-
where your silty stuff comes down.
Right. So it would be continue to cease and desist from any activity, maintain existing erosion controls, and fortify as needed based on staff's recommendation.
Yeah, if you do a site inspection and you think something needs to
Yep,
be.
right.
So
Right.
standard would be if this was a construction job, we would
Yep.
require an environmental monitor. And this, we would simply go out there after heavy rain and we'd do a
So-
fall inspection on our own?
So, well, that's a good point. We could get, I mean, once they have a wetland person on board, they can turn into their own their own monitor,
That's
instead
the
of
goal.
staff doing it. I don't think
That's the
staff
goal.
should be
We
their
don't want-
monitor.
We don't want staff to become.
No.
Right.
Unpaid consultants
Yeah, we
and
don't.
monitors.
That's right. That's exactly what we don't.
Right.
We want them to get their own consultant on board.
So the
ASAP,
wetland consultant
right.
delineates the wetlands, serves as a monitor, and so is by September 14th.
Well, I think
A
all
reasonable
those, I think
deadline?
those things are attainable by those dates. Certainly, the applicant, or the party can accelerate it if they choose to. Yeah,
No,
they
aim-
can- if they can
aim-
accelerate
Oh,
it.
no,
Aim
no
small.
later than.
Aim small, miss small. We want a consultant on board.
September 14th, that's what this says, and I agree with that. It's capable.
On or before.
Yeah.
Before what's the date?
On or before September 14th.
Oh, we can do that
We want
for
a
sure.
consultant on board.
Mm-hmm.
And having had delineated the wetland.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want the
Okay,
consultant on
you
board, the
gotta- you
wetland
gotta-
delineated, and any erosion addressed on
So
or before the 14th.
Within a month after that, we're asking, the recommendation is asking to have a restoration plan completed. So within a month, to produce this document with a sketch may be possible. I think that's a reasonable
Either a
deadline.
restoration plan or
A
a
survey.
notice of intent saying what you want to do.
Okay.
And then ultimately, depending that plan getting through the process of being approved. So the plan would actually be to be submitted to us, not just, which would result
Yeah.
in some sort of a permit, which we want the work to be done by, you're suggesting May 23rd.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave us much time after the spring, after the winter and spring. This work could happen in the in winter, maybe not so much in the spring.
I mean, I'd go with it. I wouldn't, why are we dragging it out that far?
The only thing is the function of how busy those guys are. I have
Well,
no
you got-
idea, but if they're not too busy, we'll get it.
If you can get
right
that
away.
guy that was here tonight on board,
Got his card.
right?
Got his card.
That's where you start.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, you wake him up.
He
It
was
doesn't
very
work out
nice.
with him, we have a list. of
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try him, and if not, we can certainly reach
They're all
out to you
busy,
guys.
they're all busy, but you
Answer the
gotta,
phone, it's on sale.
Gotta do it.
you gotta find one, right? I mean, really,
Give
that's
him-
the
we'll
only
give him
way
the
to
deadline.
get
They
it.
have to work.
Communicate to Amy
Nope.
and Taylor, they'll help you
We'll
out.
take care of it for sure.
I know we have, I know we have an abutter waiting, just
Yeah,
waiting to
somebody
talk.
wants to talk, yeah.
Yes, thank you. I am a voter, and I just wanted to.
Would you address who you are?
Just the name and address.
John Weaver, 37 Court Street.
Thank you.
A couple of things we just wanted to make sure that we have covered. One thing we've talked to Jim and Lee about is that none of us really know where our property line is. And that's right in back, right at that picture is where our property line comes down and then it goes down towards the brook. So in this process, I assume that somebody's gonna have to specify where the property line is, so make sure that their work's on their side.
So you heard me make reference to a notice of intent?
Yes.
So when a notice of intent comes before this commission, it's a registered professional engineer, does a property line survey.
Okay.
And shows the margins, shows where everything is, the
Okay.
boundaries.
Is there a limit to how close they can build up to the property line? Or can they go right to the property?
There is, but that's out of my, I don't know what
Okay.
that is.
That's a zoning
That's a
question.
building, that's a
Building
building.
inspector question.
All right, and our last concern, which Mr. Maben, you already mentioned, was the flow of water, because it's a fairly large mound of dirt right now back there. So we were concerned about that. So thank you for bringing it up. Okay, thank you.
So they're gonna follow our suggestions.
Right.
If they wanna,
Not
Yeah.
incur fines.
if they wanna clean their house up and not start paying $100 a day in fines.
Right.
They're gonna do what we ask.
Very good,
And
thank
part of
you.
that will be showing the boundaries.
Okay.
In the meantime, sir, I'm Regina Jones, I live at 37
I
Court
just
Street.
can't, I just can't hear you, that's all.
At 37 Court Street, I'm John's wife, we live next to Leah and Jim.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you're talking into the fall, rain comes, we already get puddles in our yard, and I'm concerned what's gonna happen in between, that we'll get water in the basement.
Are you getting water now?
In the basement?
Yeah.
No.
So I don't think this is gonna cause you.
It won't affect us?
I mean, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
I don't think so, but
Water's gonna drain to that brook.
that water's gonna go where it always goes.
Okay, that's good.
It's gonna
All right.
have the least resistance, unless they put up a dam and blocked it.
No, I don't think it- Thank you,
All
gentlemen.
right, thank you.
All right, so you guys, do you have questions of us? Because it's real important that you don't drag your feet on it.
No, we can't drag our feet.
No,
I
mean,
think
seriously.
that discussion with the abutters, I just want to make sure it's underscored. We can talk about establishing lines, step one.
Yep, step one.
Don't rule out, there's an engineering, there's a.
Oh, there's a
There's an
survey.
engineering
Yes,
survey
there's,
and
yes,
engineering.
yes.
I mean, this is a much broader undertaking.
Yes.
This is not Mr. Bonilla
Doing a sketch.
sketching on
I
an
know.
aerial photograph of the solution. That's not going to happen. This is a full-blown, where is the line, and those next big engineering technical steps to get this thing.
Yes.
I was trying to
work
convey
out.
that. I was trying to say it.
And then is there another option to restore it back to its original condition, or is that not?
Yeah, you can always do that.
I think you still need a plan to do that.
You
still need a plan to do it.
Still need a plan to
We
do
Just
that.
want to understand the dollars of everything. And then-
Listen, you find out where your corners are, find out where your setbacks are, then you come to us with a restoration plan instead of a construction plan, and we'll review it based on that.
Okay.
But whatever you want to do has to come here.
Okay.
And I wouldn't wait till the snow flies.
No, we're not.
No.
Thank you very much for your time.
What are the
You need
instructions?
to issue an enforcement order that states cease and desist, continue, maintain erosion controls, and enhance where needed, engage a wetland consultant, and have the wetland delineated no later than September 14th.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like to say get it delineated tomorrow morning, but,
I'll make the call tomorrow morning.
Too long? Okay.
I think September's too long also, I
All
really
right,
do.
so
I-
that's fine. Tell me another date. August 10th?
August 1st,
August 1st?
yeah.
Oh, that's 2 weeks away.
Okay, give me 4 weeks then.
August 10th?
August
Is our
12th
next meeting.
August 12th, is it 10th?
August 10th is our
10th.
next meeting.
10th is reasonable.
So August
Gives them
10th.
gives them a month.
And if they
We
can't get
shaved
it
the
done
month
by
off the
then,
other
you
end.
come back and tell us, all right? But
But we'll be here August 10th
wanna
either
see
way.
The other thing is a function of the surveyors too. Everybody
stop.
has to be on board. Well, we're on board, except that, to make sure the surveyors are on board and they can get their work done to be able to provide it to the
You're
soil
gonna-
scientists.
You're gonna have to be flexible. You might not get the surveyor you want. You know, you're gonna have to be flexible.
Okay.
Because if you tell me we gotta wait a year for my surveyor, we're gonna tell you to go find another surveyor.
No, that's not going to work. Okay, we'll take care of it.
All right.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night, okay?
All right, thanks.
Come on,
So,
we got to go get the kids.
You were still reading.
huh?
Go ahead, you were still reading the
Well,
enforcement order.
so get the wetland delineated by August 10th,
Yeah.
a surveyed, engineered plan by
I don't know.
another month, September
End of
14th?
September?
2 months.
No,
'Cause is
I
it-
would say
I think-
September 1st.
Okay, we could always revisit and extend
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Just
you
give
know-
them September 1st. The reality, they're not gonna get it till end of October, early November.
Yeah.
Good luck
Well, let's-
getting anybody to answer phones.
Let's
That's not
ask
coming
for
out.
it. We can
We'll-
always
Ask for it and we can always
we'll
extend
try-
it.
Let's
We'll try
ask for
to
it. We can always extend
expedite
it.
this
We
as
can always
best we
extend it.
can.
I'd rather.
They're gonna be at the mercy of the professionals, because everybody is straight out.
Yeah, I know, and you know what, we trust you guys, and we trust
Oh,
the
we're not
building
gonna,
compliance.
this isn't gonna go away.
No, we're
Okay,
gonna do our best
so-
to make sure.
Yeah, no,
This is not gonna go away.
All right.
No, no.
well, and you
Okay.
can come to our house to do, we know Nation does their job.
I think they're gonna fix it.
Okay.
I will see you. Thank you. Thank you
right,
very much for coming by.
The wetland consultant shall serve as their monitor and inspect the property after half-inch rain events,
Yes.
okay?
After half-inch rain event occurs within 24 hours.
Within 24 hours. Okay,
You can get the 1 inch in 20 minutes, you're still coming out.
yes, or more.
Let's hope we
Okay.
don't get any of those. That's
All
what they
right,
don't
so
need.
we've got delineate the
Thunderstorms.
wetland
Happened in
by
Hampton
August
last night.
I
10th.
know, I know.
Survey plan by September 1st. And then I guess from there, we
Yeah.
figure out what needs to be restored.
Well, hopefully what they'll do is they'll come to us by then and say what they want.
Yeah,
Because I'm getting the impression that they want to just restore it and put it back.
No,
Okay.
that's not what they wanna do.
Well, that's what I just heard.
Well, whatever.
He
Yeah, I
said,
don't know what I'm hearing.
well,
I
they're
heard-
giving
I
us a
heard both.
plan no matter what they're gonna do.
right,
So we're gonna get a plan by September 1st.
So our job right
And
now
then
is
go
is
from there.
to
Okay.
identify and stabilize.
Yep.
That's our job right now. And then after that, they can make their wishes. They
Okay.
can see Mayday Maven with all their wish lists.
Denied.
All right, so, someone want to make a motion on that?
So moved, so moved. To everything you said.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Okay.
The next one, real quick, 40 Flagship.
Status quo, status quo, right?
Status quo.
Okay. Fines are accruing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And next, the same thing, Foster Street, Hilton Oil.
Status quo there?
Status quo, and we're waiting for the heavy
Interpretation of the data.
Yes.
Yes.
The risk assessment thing that's going to be sort of the big, heavy
And
document
we have
that
our
we're gonna have to
we have our
make.
consultant, we have our
Yes.
consultant
Yeah.
reviewing that data.
Yeah.
And have we heard
And-
from Pat yet? With
He's
respect-
got a draft.
Okay.
I haven't talked to him, but
Okay, so it's July. This is
Yeah.
what happens in July.
Yeah.
Well, we get something from Wood too, right?
that's what we're waiting for from Wood.
Didn't we just, oh, we only get the
have test
preliminary.
Yeah, we have raw data. Now we need their interpretation and their risk
So
assessment.
we're gonna get the once upon a time
And it may
story
be
from-
that, I don't know how our agendas are gonna be, but we may want to schedule a special meeting just to dive into that, because it might be too heavy hitting for a regular agenda.
Let's
So
see,
let's just wait and.
You know, you'll
continue
get
to
it, and you can talk to Mike first, right?
Yes, yep.
And then you and Mike
I am
can.
not here the 10th
Of
Okay.
August.
Augusto.
Okay, good to know.
All
All right.
Okay. Next,
Okay, so decisions?
General
Do we-
general business.
Are we going under general old business? Election of
shit.
Conservation Commission officers? If we are, I'm gonna nominate.
That was good, Amy.
I move no changes.
Hold on, wait, don't run yet, hold on.
I'm rushing too much, I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna nominate Lou to remain as chairman of the commission.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I
Anybody
nominate
opposed?
Al to be vice chairman.
Second.
All those
All
in favor
favor?
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's
And Al
unanimous.
stays.
Oh, thank you again.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
I want a raise, though.
Okay, you can-
MECC
okay, now,
annual-
okay, now, okay, now. That was important you be
You
here.
mean they didn't double your salary last year?
Yeah, it's been tripled.
I want more money.
MECC annual dues, that includes memberships of staff.
Do you need authority to take that from the filing fees?
That's why I said you
I
didn't
don't
have to
know.
do that.
You just, normally, the MACC duels traditionally are paid from the filing fees.
Yes, they
It just-
are.
just
I
We
know.
have to move them, we have to move them.
Okay,
Yes,
all
so
right.
I authorize it, so
All
authorize.
right, 928.
For perpetuity.
I second it.
And those are just membership dues, not conferences or anything else.
No,
It's
it's
yeah.
just
Right,
membership
okay.
dues and online subscription for the MACC.
Does
annual.
Ryan knows what he's doing, does he need a
No, we'll.
handbook?
We're,
He probably has one.
probably
Yeah.
He
has,
wasn't,
yeah.
he was,
No, what he needs is, seriously, he needs a copy of the, you made it for me, and it's an excellent one, farming in wetland resource
Yeah, yeah,
areas.
yeah,
You
yeah,
put
yeah.
together a nice three-ring
Yeah.
binder. It's absolutely perfect.
Yep,
Everybody should have one.
Okay.
Really something.
all right.
It tells you everything you need.
So Joe moved, is there a second?
yes,
I think it's already
Al.
voted.
and it was unanimous.
Okay,
Okay.
Then,
Half Mile Hill, what was,
okay, it's,
is it done, or is it?
it's signed by Josh, you guys have to sign it.
Okay, so you got that.
Yeah,
Any other business, if any?
so we have two decisions,
Oh, my God. Okay.
we have what?
two decisions.
Oh,
I only have two decisions. You're right.
So we have 240 Abbott and 463 Winter.
is 240 Abbott and 250 Abbott the same
Different.
common
Yeah,
driveway?
I know, I went back and forth.
They're,
Look at the documents.
they're kind of next to each other.
Well, are they using that same driveway?
No, no, they don't, no,
Okay.
no.
Which one are we doing right now?
Want to do 240 Abbott?
240 Abbott, got it.
Okay,
Got
got
it,
it.
thank you. Thank you.
And take out that blurb.
Which blurb are you looking at?
Okay,
The one that
Take
he's
it out.
asking us, do we need it, I would take it out. It's not germane. In fact, it's maybe even contrary to the earlier opinion we got, so
okay,
we were satisfied with the completeness of the application.
I agree with Joe.
The second green highlight, is it Vladimir doesn't know the date? We don't know the date? That's a reminder, put the date on.
I didn't
of
even
the
notice
plan.
we lost.
Yes, yes,
All right.
yes, I just wasn't sure at that point.
I didn't even notice we lost Tyler too.
Yep.
Taylor?
Yep.
Tyler.
At 10 o'clock, we lose everybody. Everybody turns into a pumpkin, except us.
That's a policy overtime thing?
It's a union.
Union?
Yep. Compensate or lose.
Remember what we talked about, Amy?
Yeah, did I do it right or no?
No.
I'm glad we stay late and leave early
Okay.
Friday.
Remember the number we talked about?
All right, sorry.
That's
We
okay.
ran.
Yes.
So bond,
Yes,
Earlier.
2,000.
Leave earlier.
I think that's what they do already.
minimum, we're gonna do.
Setting bonds now, 2,000 minimum.
What's the scope of work?
I don't care. If you put a mailbox in, you're gonna pay
Yeah.
2,000.
It's the force main.
The fourth thing.
2,500.
3,000.
I'll see it and I'll raise you. 2,500, no, 2,500.
So who's the erosion control monitor? Is that the wetland scientist that delineated the wetlands, or?
Can be.
Okay. It says daily.
Oh, really?
Dewatering shall be monitored daily,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Not like daily.
Not, yeah, not really.
Gotcha, okay.
That's the one.
They
That's
can
the
do
one.
this work in 2 days.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
This works.
Okay,
in-
well-
in
Cut
and
and
out.
cut, just cut and cut.
Setting the pumps and controls like a dewatering, no ground stir.
Unless they want to go borrow that pump and de-water a vernal pool.
Tony, we had our share today.
That was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, any motion? if you
Wait, hold on, are there any amendments?
Any questions?
Just
No,
the bond,
Just a bond.
Is the bond amended?
yes,
Okay.
2.
I'll move it as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Winter Street.
This one looks
This is
easier.
another septic, I think.
463 winter.
Crafted rock, what? Were they both septic systems?
No, one,
No, my head grabbed it twice.
one's the first one's a force main, second one's a septic.
Pop back and forth.
Winter
Okay.
Street's a
Templates,
septic.
so
Yeah, no
I will
worries.
do that.
This isn't even
Condition
a septic.
49,
This wasn't
Amy.
even a septic system, it's a,
specialty treatment system.
yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
You got marginal soils, it's, yeah.
those are pretty good stuff.
They're not cheap either.
No. They did a subdivision up in Gloucester, the whole place was rock. Rock. They put the individual septic systems like these, the treatment plants in each house.
That's why houses in Gloucester cost $2 million.
Absolutely right.
A beautiful view, it's right on top of Knoll, you can see the ocean on one side and you can see the Park River on the other.
Annisquam or Tucker?
The Ansquam.
Annisquam. Boy, it's been a while, huh?
Uh,
Condition 49,
Yeah,
you're talking about placement of 6 markers or signs along the tree line or the 25, so you gotta be pretty clear. Is it,
I think it's tree line. Because it might be,
why don't we just say as a, yeah, I think you are, prior to construction and in consultation with the with consultation and acceptance by the conservation administrator. For the actual
Yeah,
location.
yeah.
That way
Okay.
you can, in the field, pick the right
And-
locations.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. bond.
I think by definition,
That's gonna.
the system
we had
is not gonna
2,000.
be in the, can't be in the water.
Yeah,
right?
2,000.
This was 2,000.
Any questions?
Okay.
None.
Motion?
Move we adopt as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
Game over.
Let us know when it's dead.